point is, I can't fucking believe that. Neither one of us had been approached by Facebook. And in fact, I'm just going to fucking say it right now. The horrible meeting that we had where they tried to charge us $30 to get out of the fucking parking lot was Facebook. Okay, that's it, guys. So I'm going to say it because I give two fucks and I'm going to cry in the woods for a week. I did not know when we floated the idea of the newsletter to you guys, we didn't know that literally 3 days later, everyone you follow on Instagram would be announcing their newsletter.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
This meeting is being recorded. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Hi. Well, you know, I got to tell you something. I turned a fucking corner, I have to say.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's
just
good.
Just in time to go cry in the woods for a week.
Well, that's how it goes, right? You make a hair appointment, and just the day before, your hair looks amazing.
Yes, Caissie. Well, my hair does look amazing. Didn't even know if they were advertising on the pod today, but they are. I cracked open a Bev.
Bev. She's always there for you. I love it. I love that you just had some Bev on ice ready to go.
Well, it's 6 o'clock here.
I know.
6
That's
p.m.
true. That's true. It's celebrating
It's time for my Bev. Well, no, I really, first of all, I want to ask a question. How is it having both of your kids in the house, back in the house? You seem, I want to say, lighter. Like, you really do. Like, I think having Eli gone for this period of time was doing a thing to your brain that maybe you weren't even aware of.
Yeah. Well, a lot of parents said, like, there's nothing like having all your kids under one roof, which is true because, and other parents, maybe you can, parents of older kids, like when you were selling your house, when you were getting ready to sell your house and like move across the country, all those kind of things, did you have that thing where you kept like waking up in a panic? Like, am I doing this? Something huge is going to change. And like, you almost feel like obviously you're in the wrong spot or something's missing. That's
Caissie. Caissie. This is almost like an insane line of questioning.
It is.
Yes. Okay.
It's so insane.
Thank you.
So that's kind of how it feels when, you have somebody who's out of the house. And I'm sure that it gets easier as they get older, but yeah, you feel a little bit like a part of us is missing. So it's very nice to have him here, especially after that long drive across the country, which everyone was so nice to him on Instagram, following him on Instagram. People sent him gas money, which was so nice. They tracked down his really nice.
One thing made me really laugh on his journey. What was it?
I don't know. He makes me really
There was
laugh.
one thing. He is really funny.
He's very funny. And he's like, they're both wildly funny and they both don't even try or even care about being funny, which is annoying to me. It just happens. It just tumbles out.
Sometimes that does happen with people.
Yeah. And they don't
I relate to Taylor Swift's lyric on this one. I try and I try and I try. Is that the lyric? I don't even know, but it's like I do nothing but try.
Yeah, I assume that's the lyric. They've both just been very funny. People always say, "Oh, you're biased because you're their mom. You think they're funny." And I would argue that I'd be biased in the other direction. I would ignore their funniness and pretend it wasn't happening because, like, what kind of life is that to wish on your kids? To like this.
By the way, I feel you and I are both this way with our kids. Like, we are hard on them. Like, in a way that a lot of modern parents aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't like, and it's not that I'm even like hard on my kids. It's just like, I don't give it up easily for anyone. And it doesn't matter that I birthed you out of my vagina.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not good enough for me, I'm not going to laugh. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta.
I feel like when it comes to like the like creativity and all of that stuff. I just feel like I'm protective of them because that's like a road that I've gone down. And so I don't want to encourage them or push them into something that I know hasn't been easy for me. So I don't want to be like, yeah, you should do this. It's like so fun and so easy.
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
So I'm like, if you have any inclination to do anything else, I'd say explore that first before you explore this, because it's not the easiest thing. It's done a lot of good for me, but it's also like in the end, on my deathbed, what will the balance be? Like, will it have been as much sorrow as joy? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I know where I stand right now. I'm like, don't do this. Don't try to do this. It's not for anyone.
But it's so funny because I feel the same way, except then I feel like my kid's more talented than I ever was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's
and
entirely
so then I'm like,
possible. Yeah, and then you want to be supportive and
yeah, and you already have the contacts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, well,
it's weird. I have to say, like, I know people really hate nepotism, which luckily
I love it.
I'm not in a position to really offer too much nepotism, but I've always felt like what are you supposed to do if you're the kid and you like want to do something and you're good at it? Are you supposed to like run away from it because like people might say, oh, you're just here because your parents, whatever. Like it makes a certain amount of sense that the children of people who do those things would have some like natural aptitude for it and be somewhat confident at it because they've been around it their whole lives. But as far as my kids go, I'm like, work in politics, work in real estate, all those things that you're interested in.
Politics is also not a pursuit that is easy / fair / based on like the things that you would hope it would be based on. Do you know what I mean?
Not at all. I think the advantage is I don't know anything about it. So anything they'd be like, if my kids pursued politics, which they've been interested in the past, if they pursued it, I wouldn't be trying to give them advice and trying to run their careers. I'd just be like, when they're telling me something about it, I'd just take their word for it and be like, yeah, that sounds like it sucks, or that sounds like it's great, or whatever. I'd just be able to take it, the way parents are supposed to listen.
I do have to say, though, like, this has been interesting, this journey with Birdie doing the With Love TV show for Gloria. And, like, just Birdie and I walked in this in the Bathsheba fashion show on Friday. Like, Birdie and I've at times had a hard time connecting in terms of like they are just their own person. They don't want my opinions, thoughts, feelings, etc. about things.
Yeah.
With Love, like the TV show, they really wanted me.
Yeah.
And they really like wanted, they weren't like, tell me how to do this, run my lines with me or whatever.
Right.
Like it wasn't that articulated or refined.
Right.
But it was like very clear that they were proud that I was their mom.
Yeah.
And that like my 20 plus years in this business was like something that they like, just even I think I told this story, but just like the hanging your clothes every day when you're done with work, like that stuff.
Yeah.
Like Bird like truly did roll their eyes at me. And rightfully so. I'm like a fucking annoying mom who's like giving them practical advice about a thing.
Yes.
However, then they like fully started doing it, and like then got like props from the wardrobe department for having done it.
Well, I think that's such a great story because I think that, I don't know. I think, and everybody's different as a parent, but I think the biggest mistake that a lot of us make is because for whatever reason, we just don't expect anything of our kids. We just, and I had a lot expected of me when I was a kid. I think sometimes too much because, just because of it was a different time and a different situation, but I'm very grateful that I know how to do things that I learned how to do then, and it makes you confident and competent. And so I think like a lot of times it's much easier to not expect anything of your kids, but then you're taking on too much and it's not doing them any favors either. You know, it's like, it's a really useful skill to know how to wash your laundry. And I firmly believe that you can do a simple load of laundry when you're 8 years old. And I think that you can get to a place where kids actually like that, because even, well, you know, you don't like to feel useless, right? I don't like to. So I don't know, parenting experts, you can feel free to weigh in, but I think it's okay to like expect things of your kids. And even though they roll their eyes at you in the moment, doesn't matter.
Well, for sure, like eye rolling in the moment never matters because they're obviously going to roll their eyes at you. But I had something that I needed to tell you. Oh, my thyroid biopsy.
Yes. Yes.
I mentioned it in the interview, unless we cut it out because
I think we cut
the interview was like 4 hours long. But, and half of it was just us like talking shit. We had to cut out, which is fine.
It's fine.
Because we don't need to talk shit.
Exactly. Nobody needs to hear us talking inside baseball, Hollywood shit. Not even that inside baseball in my case. Just
No,
like
just
I'm
like-
at the game. I'm watching the game
We're
from
at the
home.
game, but we're just like we're rolling our eyes at the game, but we're like, but also, can we play? Like when do we get to play?
Put me in, coach.
We remember when we tried to play. Anyway, the truth is, the thyroid biopsy came back
So good. You
benign.
must be so relieved.
Yeah, that might have something to do with me turning the corner because it also coincided with. I had like a 24 hours of like nonstop, like crying from my gut, like deep crying.
Yeah.
And then I started to feel a little bit better. And then the doctor texted me
Yeah.
that the cells came back benign. And I didn't even realize like how much maybe that was playing into a lot of what I had been like moving through.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, you always say with that kind of stuff that like you don't worry about it. And I think that that's great, but I don't see how you couldn't be worried about it deep down inside, regardless of whether that's a productive use of your time.
Wait, hold on. I'm texting.
You're texting Gina.
I'm texting Gina Linetti and I'm asking her to just like, please stop fucking barking. Now, here's the deal with the thyroid though, guys. Since I got that benign cells, it does mean that I can get the radio frequency treatment to get it made smaller. Cause it is like, these nodules are like really big and they're like pressing on my throat and I can feel it.
It's not comfortable.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And anytime I wear a turtleneck, I feel like I'm going to die. And I literally thought, I'm not even kidding you. I convinced myself it was because I had been like choked to death in a previous life. Like that was where my head went. I was like, obviously I can't wear a turtleneck or a choker necklace because I was murdered that way in a previous life.
We have no evidence that that is not true.
That's true. But also maybe it's just my thyroid is like strangling me and any additional pressure on it feels like I'm going to be choked.
Yeah, a little panicky. Well,
It's panicky.
That's so good. I'm glad you're going to get that RF thing.
So I'm going to get that done. I'll get that done after the retreat. I have some doctors here in New York that I was referred to that I'm going to see. But then also, I've had this like mystery knee issue.
Yeah.
This is really turning into my very first podcast, We're No Docs.
Yes.
And I almost was going to call you and say, should Steve Agee be our guest host this week? Because I have so many fucking medical ailments.
So many medical things.
We have Lincoln with his seizing and
Yes.
not knowing what exactly is going on there. This is essentially We're No Doctors.
Yeah. It's like a revival without Steve. He's so busy being a movie star.
I'm happy for him. He's just like one of my favorite people alive. Like,
Yeah.
just
He's
the
really,
best.
really, he's really great.
You know-
and he's so talented, and he's such a talented photographer and musician, and he's funny and a great actor, and just
He's
then
taken
a
some
really,
great fucking pictures.
yeah,
that
just a
guy.
nice person.
Also, like, he commented on one of my Instagram posts and sort of like misgendered Birdie on accident.
Yeah.
And someone corrected him, which people do police the comments a lot for that, which is like,
yes.
thank you. And also, okay, because it's the internet, you know. Like this lady, I posted all those pictures from the Bathsheba fashion show, and this lady commented like, ugh, this is just all so forced. And I was like, bitch, I could not agree with you more if I tried. Yeah, that's the point. It's a fucking fashion show.
They don't just break out spontaneously.
And I'm like posting it on my Instagram. You think? Mary, take a fucking seat. Anyway, I don't know who that lady is. I'm sure she's lovely. It was like the dumbest fucking thing to obviously it's forced, Mary. It's on my fucking Instagram and it was a fashion show. Ugh. Anyway. What was I saying? Steve.
Somebody policed his comment.
Oh, yes. And he just was like, oh shit, my bad. Them. And I was like, Steve, I fucking love you. Oh shit, my bad. Them.
Perfect response.
Another friend of mine who's an actor had texted me this whole long thing about Birdie and had like questions about the pronouns and like about like blah, blah, blah. And I did the thing where like I read the text like because I'm on the East Coast, it was like too early to write back because they would have like they sent it not knowing maybe that I was on the East Coast or something at this point, but they sent it too late. So I got it in the morning and, you know, I wake up super early. So it would have been like 3 a.m. that I would have texted someone. But I was just like, I try not to do that. That's fucked. I only really do it to you. And occasionally Emily BB. But anyway, so, but like, so it was so nice and so like sweet and open for this actor dude to text me about Birdie, and I just in my head thought that I had texted back because I read it so early and I didn't. And then like 3 or 4 days later, I got another text from this guy, and he's like, "I'm so sorry if I offended you by." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I really thought I texted you back. No, it's
gosh.
chill. Everything's fine. Like you're good. Like thank you."
Oh, that's nice. But also, I'm glad they followed up instead of just assuming that you're a bitch and you didn't write back and they offended you and whatever. Because I feel like that happens sometimes. But I have been noticing more people lately reaching out and saying, sorry if I offended you, which I think is, it's good. It's progress. It's non-toxic humanity.
I think that is progress.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do hate when I make, like, when someone teases me and then I tease them back, like, online, and then somebody's like, sorry if I offended you. And I'm like, no, I was just playing back. I was like, you can't, like, roughhouse with someone and then be nervous that they're going to roughhouse back a little bit.
But texting tweet, this is why this is, like, all such an unfair thing. Like, none of it, we still are not able to like really understand tone and nuance over text or tweet or honestly just the internet, period.
Yes.
Or irony.
Yes.
Or like it just like all of it gets sort of like jumbled together and lost in translation. And then you're just like in a fight with someone. You're like, wait, what just happened?
Right.
But also maybe that person's a fucking asshole. But like, you know what I mean? But then you're just like, you're just in it. You can't get out.
Yes.
I don't fucking know.
It's really complicated. And I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, like this presumption of intimacy sometimes happens. And then we were talking about parasocial relationships and how that's like the phrase du jour. And I think sometimes that happens too, is that like a lot of times somebody will make a joke to me and I'm kind of like, it'll catch me wrong because I'm like, you don't know me like that, you know? And so my response, and it's so passive aggressive, is to just say, I don't get it. And then like, because I think on closer examination, if that person were like, oh, if I were trying to explain this joke and what I meant, I now see that it is actually kind of rude and I'm a dick. And so
That's
when
also, by the way, a great, as we are thinking the holidays coming up, that is actually a great way to handle any sort of, you know, I am a firm believer in like confronting like racist family members and or like insane family members.
Yes.
But one way to really, if you're like nervous about it or whatever, is to slow play it like Caissie just said. And you just say like, I don't get it. Why is that funny? But like not in like you can't be like antagonistic in your tone. You have to be just like very genuine. Like,
yeah.
Wait, explain to me. What does that mean? Explain that to me. What does that mean?
I don't get it.
Why?
You can literally just repeat, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Until the person breaks down.
Can you imagine?
Because, and it's also, I'm going to say, it's a little bit of a holiday gift to yourself, because getting to look at that person's face in the moment where they realize that they stepped in shit and they're going to have to,
they're going to try to dig themselves out.
Say the part out loud that they weren't courageous enough to say in the first place because it's bullshit. And then you get to watch their face and be like, that's what I thought.
I like this. I like this game. Guys, if you get, I know we're a couple months out, but if you end up playing this game at the holidays or anytime, maybe there's a wedding, maybe there's a birthday party coming up with family that you don't agree with, and you play this fun game, I really do want to hear about it. And Caissie will forward me the emails, so don't you worry. If you send them to that email address, I will see them if Caissie deems them worthy.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, I've been getting a lot lately of DMs with people being like, I wanted to tell Busy this and I'm sending it to you because I know she'll never see it in her own inbox. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm just going to also send it to her inbox, right?
Yeah, but I check your stuff. They know that. You know why Caissie loves athletic greens? Tell him, Caissie. Tell him why you love it.
Because they sent us a nice note when they sent us athletic greens. And
you like the note?
I like the note. And they sent me a pair of swag compression socks.
And you love the compression socks.
Which
and
I don't...
Also, you love the way that athletic greens tastes.
It tastes really good. And my husband especially loves it. He takes a bottle of it to work every day.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense because, listen, it's difficult to maintain effective nutritional habits and give your body the nutrients that your body needs to thrive, especially when you're working. Matt works a lot and he works like long hours and
doesn't have time to eat.
And he doesn't have time to eat. He doesn't get a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
And so Athletic Greens is like, hey, hi, how are you? Let me help you. Let me help you with that. I'm going to just step right on in. I'm a life-changing nutritional habit. It's a daily all-in-one superfood powder, and it is your nutritional essential. It's by far the easiest and most delicious nutritional habit you can add to your daily routine. I mean, they simplify the logistics of getting optimal nutrition on a daily basis by just giving you one thing that has all of the things that you need, all the best things.
One scoop.
It contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients, including a multivitamin, multimineral, probiotic, greens, superfood blend, and more. And that all works together to fill the nutritional gaps in your diet, increase energy and focus, aid with digestion, and supports a healthy immune system, all without the need to take multiple products or pills.
Because you know what? I'm not standing around opening 75 pill bottles.
No, I've done it before. It is a bummer. Listen, I add it to my smoothies. I add it to my kids' smoothies. It's also lifestyle friendly, whether you're keto or paleo or vegan, dairy-free or gluten-free, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar without compromising on taste. It tastes really good. I put it in my fruit smoothies. I love it. They're offering our audience a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. If you visit our link today, you're basically never going to have to buy vitamin D again, which, by the way, I just had my physical and I am a little bit vitamin D deficient. So I need to start taking my vitamin D.
Yeah, you do.
From Athletic Greens.
Yeah.
I know. So whether you're looking for peak performance or better health or covering your bases or just like you just want some more energy and immunity and gut health, make Athletic Greens your go-to. Simply visit athleticgreens.com/busy and join health experts, athletes, and health-conscious go-getters around the world who make a daily commitment to their health every single day with Athletic Greens. Again, simply visit athleticgreens.com/busy and get your free year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs today. Here's what I'm going to say. I know a lot of people think that eco-friendly products are more expensive, less effective, especially when it comes to cleaning products. Like, you're like, okay, so all natural, but like, is it really cleaning my shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Blue Land has fixed that with its revolutionary refill tablets. I am obsessed with Blue Land. First of all, did you know that an estimated 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles are thrown away each year?
Ugh.
Stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah.
Get Blue Land's revolutionary refill cleaning system instead. Blue Land was founded on the belief that a cleaner planet starts at home. It's a very simple idea. You buy the bottle once, you refill that bottle forever. No more plastic waste. It feels like it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I don't know how we've not been doing it this way the whole time.
It's great for the earth, but also selfishly, it's great for like my storage in my house, which I don't have a lot of because I don't need to store giant bottles of cleaner. I just have little refills that I add water to myself.
Can I tell you something too? In my bathroom, I obviously you need hand soap in your your bathroom. Like, it's just a pretty little glass bottle with a black pump on it. And I refill the tablet, and then it's like, it's done. It's done. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And it's less waste. Anyway, they have convenient laundry and dishwasher tabs that come in chic and compact refillable metal containers instead of like big, bulky, disposable plastic tubs. They've really figured this out, guys.
Yeah.
They're really incredible. And they're high quality bottles, forever bottles, start at just $10 when you buy a kit. And then you reuse that bottle forever with the money-saving refill tablets that start at just $2. So cut the plastic waste without sacrificing clean. Get Blue Land. Guys, you're going to love it. I promise you, the planet's going to thank you. I'm going to thank you. And right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you go to blueland.com/best. That's 15% off your first order of any Blue Land products at blueland.com/best. blueland.com/best. Wait, listen, I have so many things to say. First of all, should we talk about J-Lo and Ben Affleck?
So exciting to see them on the red carpet.
Well, here's what's exciting. Ben Affleck has managed to age backwards.
Yes.
15 fucking years. In about 6 months, guys. I'm gonna say that in 6 months, the man has aged backwards 15 fucking years, and holy hell is he hot. I can't. I cannot.
I have to assume that Jennifer Lopez is excreting something. Like they're rubbing together. They're kissing. They're rubbing their bodies together. Whatever comes out of J-Lo is like a magical substance that is making Ben de-age by the year.
I know, but I really do think it is probably HGH.
Do you think
right?
so? I don't think their heads are getting bigger. Nobody's head is getting...
He's always had a huge head.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know about her, but like okay, guys, I don't know if this is a Hollywood break because I don't know how common HGH is in the world, but I do know that in Hollywood it is common, especially for men over like 45, certainly. Yeah. And what HGH, it's called human growth hormone. And it is, it's like I don't know.
Well, your body makes it
replacement.
And
right.
As you get older,
age, it depletes, right?
Yeah.
And so people use it, like specifically men, over 45, 45.
Well, they say they use it for an injury. That's always the cover story.
Okay, well, did I ever talk about Merck's HGH usage on this show?
No, but I know about it. But
I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be okay with it, and I'll check in with him later. But like, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be okay with me telling this story because it really so perfectly illustrates what it is, and if you had any fucking doubt. The thing I'll say about HGH, which makes it like a little dicey, is they do say that if you have any tiny like amount of cancer or it can speed up that growth as well. So it like increases like the growth of collagen and like I don't know, like increases testosterone too, or I don't fucking know how that works. Okay, basically when Mark was like in his early 40s, he was injured and in a basketball game. Like he really like dislocated his shoulder kind of grossly in a basketball game. And he went to the hospital and got it put back in. And then he went to this doctor in Los Angeles who was like, yeah, definitely PT and also HGH. And so Mark did this round of HGH. Okay. They were like shots he had to give to himself in his stomach. Mm-hmm. It totally freaked him out, like really creeped him out to do it. Within, guys, 4 days, within 4 fucking days, every wrinkle on his face disappeared and he had like a 12-pack abs, which he had never had before.
Right.
Like every muscle in his body became like super cut and ripped. Every wrinkle on his forehead disappeared.
Yeah.
It did not do anything about the gray hair, as we know.
Okay. Yeah, that's different.
But that's a different journey.
Yeah.
But I am telling you, he was on it for like, I want to say 2 or 3 months. And he was like every day would just like stand and look at himself in the mirror and be like, this doesn't make any sense. This can't be good for. And he started panicking. Buttoning. He was Benjamin buttoning, but he also like started panicking because he's like intellectually, Mark is, just this person where he's like, this can't be right. This can't be right. Like this can't be good for my body if all of a sudden I fucking look like this, like from just a thing that I'm injecting into myself.
Right.
And so then once his shoulder was like basically healed and he was done with the PT, he was like, fuck that. I got to get off this shit.
And then what happened? That. Like, did he?
And then immediately like Flab City. No,
he looked like Squidward.
No, he didn't. No, but he did it. But it went away. Like, the.
But was it like instant? Did he go back to how he was before, or did he just start the aging process from like where he was? Do you feel like?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention. I got to be honest, but I mean,
Here's the thing: HGH sounds so amazing, but it does cause your skull to get bigger, and I think it makes your bones grow. And so if you stayed on it, you'll be walking around looking like the Home Depot 12-foot skeleton, maybe. I don't know.
Can you stop? You're fucking obsessed with that skeleton.
If you have
what do I need to do to get you one
skeleton? I mean, I don't know. It's just sold out everywhere. And now they have costumes for it. And that was like a particularly painful revelation. Yeah, because like
I could see how that would be upsetting.
It's so weird. It's like I have this thing where like things that I hate, I also love. And so I hate giant things, especially I know we've talked about it, the spruce goose we talked about. Giant inflatable things. The Macy's Day Parade is hell for me because I fucking hate those giant balloons. They make me want to faint. And so I went on a quest to see that skeleton, that HGH Home Depot skeleton, to see if I would revile it or love it. And at first I hated it, but then I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I think I love it.
But you lost your chance. It's gone.
I know, it's gone. And I like fucked around and found out with the skeleton, and now what can I do? I just have to live with it and like covet other people's skeletons. But anyway, back to the HGH. I worked in a place one time where there was like a steady feed, a Hollywood break. Sometimes when you work in a place, there'll be a feed where on your monitors in your office, it shows the shows that are being made, like on the network, particularly shows that are live and things that are being recorded in studios. And so you can turn it on and kind of watch what's going on all day in your network, in your building. And there was one person who really loved to do last looks in the camera. And it was always rumored that this person was on HGH. And this person would do last looks for a really long time, like a good 10, 15 minutes. And I made sure that I tuned in every day to see if I thought their skull was growing and to see if the spaces between their teeth were getting any bigger. And it could have been, placebo effect. It could have been, just wishful thinking, but I really think their skull did grow over the course of the time that I was observing it.
Okay. I have questions. Number one, is this person still on television?
Not a lot, not as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Jay Leno?
No, it wasn't Jay Leno. But that's a good guess. And I can see why you would think that.
Well, anyway, my point being, I wish everybody the best. And I stand here, a lady who says she has no judgment with nothing but judgment in my heart. And I truly am not judging Ben at all, because whatever the fuck he's doing, I want him to keep doing it. If it's HGH, if it's just J-Lo's skincare line, if it's like I don't know.
Excretes something natural.
If she's got like a special perfume that she excretes from her labia that like,
or like just her pores in general,
I guess so yeah. I mean, I sat next to her. I certainly did not age backwards.
But you didn't like rub bodies with her. That's what I think. I think they're probably having a lot of
so good, Caissie.
He does. He looks so
He
good.
looks like he's 32.
Yeah. It's not bad. I went to dinner with our friend Nia Vardalos the other day, and the only thing we had on the agenda was to discuss Ben and J-Lo and the whole thing. And we never got to it. We were happy to see each other, so happy to see each other that we just blabbed the whole time. And then by the time the check came, we realized that we didn't talk about Ben and J-Lo.
Did I ever tell you like that when I was a young person in the entertainment industry, I was like in love with Casey Affleck?
Really?
When I was like 19 years old. Yeah, like 19, 20. Yeah, like 20 years old.
Interesting.
I thought he was so fucking cute. He had like 3 lines in Good Will Hunting or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the guy. I love him. Who is that? And I was like, oh, he's the guy's little brother.
Yeah.
And I was like so in love with him. I wanted to date him, young Hollywood style.
Interesting. You're like Heather Matarazzo, and who did she say she decided she was going to date?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh shit! I think she just told me this in real life, not on the podcast.
Okay, so it's not on the podcast. So we're not going to put that.
Sorry, Heather.
And then it was like weird for me, even like when Michelle was working with Caissie years later, and then I know he had his problematic situations, which he's been canceled. Presumably. I don't know. Ish.
We'll see.
I don't know what it was. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was like people.
Not great. It didn't seem great.
Yeah,
didn't seem like
complaints.
Great behavior.
And yeah, that they
People
aired.
had complaints.
Yeah.
When people have complaints, sometimes I don't even need to look into it. I'm just like, yeah, I don't care anymore about that person.
I mean,
is that a great way to move through the world?
Well, just kind of lucky, because it's like, I don't know. I probably wasn't going to have anything to do with that person anyway. So then it makes me feel like I really made a decision,
He was good in that Manchester by the Sea, though. Did you see that movie?
I think so.
It's so sad. It's like fucking horrible.
I can only remember like 7 movies, and Prince was in 3 of them.
Wait, can we talk about Fashion Week?
Yeah.
So I did Fashion Week. Yeah. My week of crying coincided with Fashion Week. First up was the Christian Siriano show.
Yes.
And I got my period that day, and it was like old school, like just torrential blood
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah.
And I was super bloated, and I had like committed to wearing a skin tight snake suit, but I was just like, I'm going for it.
Yeah. You looked
And I
great.
did. You know what? I felt okay. and it was fun. I liked it. And
You sat near Katie Holmes.
uh-huh.
But who was between you?
Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh, love her.
Yeah, she's very tiny. She looks like a Polly Pocket next to me. Or like she's like a ventriloquist, or like she's like have my hand
Yes.
up her. She could like sit on my lap and look like it's like I'm a ventriloquist with her.
Did
She's
I ever
so
tell you
tiny.
about the best moment I had with Kristen Chenoweth? She came to watch What Happens Live, and she was wearing extremely tall heels, and she's about 4'11". And I was looking at her, and I must have been smiling to myself, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, honestly, real talk, I was just thinking, I know how tall you are. I'm guessing how tall your heels are. I was thinking you must be the same exact height as Prince. In your heels, you're the same exact height and about the size of Prince. And she was like, yeah, yes, I know that I that's actually true. I know that to be true. And then she was like, do you want to dance with me so you could see what it would feel like to dance with Prince? And so then I slow danced with Kristen Chenoweth. And then she told me a story about meeting Prince that was private, so I won't tell. But
God, that's amazing.
But it was so sweet. We just had like a little slow dance in the middle of the office.
So wait, if you read my book,
Yes.
you know that I was at the Mattel Toy Fair in the mid-ish, late-ish 90s.
Yes.
I was in high school, and I was hired to be the Clueless doll.
Yes.
Okay? So wait, let me just explain to you the fucking serendipity of my Christian Siriano experience. I wrote in my book, I tell a story about there was like another actress who was in the Mattel Toy Fair who was always singing, and she had the most beautiful voice. And I asked someone who it was, and this other actress who is in the Mattel Toy Fair in New York. Guys, have you even read my book? You just got to read my book, because this retelling of it is not as good as the story itself. Anyway, and the girl was like, she's super fucking talented. She was offered Maureen and Rent, but she turned it down because of her like religious beliefs. And I was like, what? Who would turn that down? And then years later, I had read an article that Kristen Chenoweth was offered the part of Maureen in Rent and turned it down because of her beliefs, like didn't want to do it at that time. So I just made the assumption that at the Mattel Toy Fair, I never had any confirmation of this, that Barbie girl who was always singing in the dressing room was Kristen Chenoweth. You had no
evidence.
Reason, well, the evidence was just
yes, clues.
The thing that the girl said. I had clues. I had no confirmation.
Yes.
Okay. So, but listen to this insanity. So Alicia Silverstone is sitting right there, who was Cher in Clueless.
Yes.
Who I wrote about in my book being like that was the thing that I was like, I'm gonna get the part in the TV show based on the movie from Clueless.
Right.
Didn't get that, but then got hired in the Mattel Toy Fair to be the Clueless doll based off of the TV show. Okay. Because I could do this really good impression of Cher from Clueless. So Alicia is right there. And then Katie, who obviously I worked with on Dawson's Creek and is also in my book. And then Kristen Chenoweth, who's in my book, they're all in the same fucking chapter of my fucking book. And I guess Katie's in the one right after.
Yeah.
But like in the exact moment of everything. And then we're all sitting there in the front row together. And so anyway, I was sort of like, this is wild. and then I was like, oh my gosh. Hey, Kristen, I have kind of a weird thing to ask you. And she was like, what? She is the nicest human ever.
She's an angel, yeah.
And it was so nice. I was like, this is going to sound really weird. But like in the mid-ish, late-ish 90s, did you ever do a toy fair? And she was like, what? And I was like before you were on Broadway, did you ever do a job in New York like at a toy fair? And she's like, I did. I was what was her name? I was Teen Skipper. And I was like, holy fucking shit. Like 1996. And she's like, yes. Oh my gosh. And I remember I was so excited because it paid so much money and I was so broke and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, Kristen, I was there. I was there at the same time. I was 17 years old. I was there. I heard you singing every day. I told her the whole fucking story. I was like, I wrote it into my book that I was like pretty sure it was you, but I never had any fucking confirmation. You've never said in any interviews that you did that.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah, because like, I don't know. I just like, it was just like a thing you did for money. I was like, no shit. But like, I felt like I was like among real actors because I was like a kid in high school who then got to go to New York and be at the toy fair and hear the most incredible voice I had ever heard IRL, which happened to be literally one of the most incredible voices that anyone has ever heard on Broadway, Kristen Chenoweth. And so anyway, it was fucking her.
That's incredible. I love that.
Isn't that nuts?
I love it. I love it.
I know, I did too.
That's really exciting. She's the best.
And that is what I know about that. And also, I got to sit next to, Mark just texted me, did this hit while you're doing your podcast? Nicki Minaj just tweeted, my cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called out the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied.
Okay.
No.
Well, my best to Nikki's cousin's friend's testicles. That's a wild one.
What the fuck? That is insane.
Yeah.
And then at the after party, I was sitting next to the pop star Kim Petras. Anyway, she was very nice. But then at the like after dinner, Christian had this like dinner afterwards. And I was like, I'm in for the dinner. I can do that. I can't go like dancing and out after.
Yeah.
But I can go to the dinner. And I got there like very early. And there was this woman there and there were these two women there and I was like just like chatting with them and they were so nice and I liked them so much. And like the one lady is like a mom and I just assumed the one lady was like a stylist and I assumed the other woman was a designer because she was talking about something or whatever. And she has a kid who's like Birdie's age, a daughter. And like, we're just like, I was like, and they don't live far from us here in New York. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really on the hunt for like friends because I don't have any fucking friends. Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who it was. And she's Leah from Real Housewives.
All right.
From Real Housewives, New York. Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that she was a real housewife because, guys, as you know at home,
yeah,
I'm not a watcher.
Yeah.
I'm not a Bravo watcher.
Yeah.
I don't watch the shows. I don't know who the fuck the people are. Bless. I know they're like the most famous people to everyone else.
Right.
But now I felt like the next day when Raymond was like, oh my God, what?
Leah McSweeney.
Leah McSweeney, right. And I loved her. She was like so great.
Yeah.
But I just felt like then I was like, oh no, did she think I was trying to be friends with her because of Real Housewives? I do not, like that was not the vibe, but
yeah.
Whatever.
Here's a fun fact. A lot of the Real Housewives are great. They're like really nice women and nice friends. The only thing hard about being friends with a Real Housewife is you kind of, if you're going to go to their parties and stuff, you're going to be in the background of Real Housewives, which you might not want. They'd probably try to fold you into a storyline.
Listen, let me tell you something. Raymond had a whole journey the next day where he had cast me.
Yeah.
As a new Real Housewife of New York. He was like, it's perfect. You just moved here.
Yeah.
You're like, you've got kids. You're young. You have like a career. They want someone who like is also already like an actor or somebody like in the spotlight.
Yeah. I can see it.
Ray really went for it. And I was like, Ray, is this all because you want to be on Real Housewives of New York?
I mean, that's a good plan. In terms of Raymond, that would be a good plan for that'd be fun for him.
I don't think it's fun for me, Caissie. I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, I don't. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to be a Real Housewife because it never stops. You know, like if you act in something, it ends, and then like I guess you're dealing with the public or whatever. But I feel like Real Housewives, the hardest part of the job is dealing with everyone's feelings about you months after like something happened in real life, and then it shows up on the show months later, and then you have to just look at everyone like saying they love you and or you're a piece of shit on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's a big job. I think it's a bigger job than people realize.
I also just feel like the amount of exposure that I've like subjected my children to already is probably too much.
Yeah.
And any more feels not right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. It's some people have had their kids on the show. Some people have like minimized their kids on the show. Some people have had some kids that want to be on the show and other kids that decline to be on the show, which I always think is really interesting. And and then like your kid becomes a meme. What are you going to do? It's an interesting life.
I mean, my kid might already be a meme. I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, I'm thinking Teresa Giudice's kids are like the most memed, probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but because I don't watch the shows. So I don't even know. Occasionally, I know who people are, like Teresa Giudice.
Giudice. Yeah.
Oh, it is? I said it right?
No, you're combining Melissa Gorga and Teresa Giudice. They're sisters-in-law.
Giudice. Okay.
Yeah.
But I know who that is because the jail thing.
Yes.
They like all went to jail in the family, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I know that because peoplemag.com.
Yes. But
I haven't been a People Mag watcher in a long time.
Here's the thing about People Mag. You can't trust it because I get like an email in my inbox and it'll be like some fun gossip, and then the next time I get an email I click on it and it's like something fucking horrendous.
Dead baby.
It's like
teenager gives birth in a thing, murders the baby, and then like strangles her mom with it.
Yeah, it's
or whatever.
Really,
and you're just like ah!
Yeah.
I never needed that. And also, guys, that's a horrifying made up thing that I constructed based on years and years of People magazine emails.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful.
I don't know if that. Yeah, you have to be careful because they will get you with a dead baby, and you're not expecting it, and you're not expecting like a horrific murder, and you're not like, it's just not, you're like, I just want more Ben and J-Lo.
Yeah.
And then they hit you with and like why it's called human interest, I don't know.
I don't know. Do they have to say trigger warning or whatever? I don't know. But like maybe they could make like that headline a different color or something but they don't care because once I clicked on it, they got me, right? They got
well, they changed it to crime, I think. People Mag crime or something like that.
All right.
Like they're just trying to like piggyback on Ryan Murphy's vibe, Caissie just said, I just love the people behind the companies. And I do think that's true for so many of these ads that we do. And it's especially true of this one for Genexa. We love this company and we love the people behind the company. Caissie pointed out that every time they send us products to try, they put a little handwritten note in it. That is a nice thing. Makes you feel seen and loved. When I got my giant Genexa thing of antacid, I was like, they get me. They really, really, really get me. Anyway, here's some things that you might not know about your medicine cabinet. The brands that you've been turning to for decades for, let's say, antacids or headaches or body aches, all of those things, those medicines are filled with unnecessary chemicals. Not the thing that you need to fix the problem you have, but filler. Stuff that's like could also be giving you other side effects, things that could make you sick, possibly, things that your body just, quite frankly, doesn't need to have to process.
Yeah.
You just don't need it. But Genexa makes medicine with the active ingredients you need, minus all of the artificial stuff you don't. I mean, like, your allergy medicine could actually be filled with allergens. That's crazy. Genexa is finally bringing some common sense to the medicine aisle. Listen, Genexa was founded by two dads on a mission to make clean medicines. Genexa medicine has the same effective and active ingredients you need without unnecessary artificial dyes or preservatives and fillers. And this is a thing that, like, because when this brand first came out a couple years ago, I was like, oh, I don't need any more homeopathic stuff, guys. I'm good. Like, I have so many vitamins and I know all the homeopathic things. And then I learned what Genexa was. And this is before they advertised on the podcast. We didn't even have a podcast.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yes.
So whether it's to manage pain or you have allergies or a cold, Genexa treats the same symptoms as leading brands, the name brands, right?
Yes.
But they don't have any of the preservatives or the fillers or the stuff that your body actually doesn't need to have to process as well. Especially when you think about, like, you don't feel well already.
Right.
And then you have to, like, process all this junk just to get the, like, active ingredient that is going to make you feel better.
Yeah. You just don't need it. And they have everyday essential medicines for adults, kids, and infants. And when it comes to kids and infants in particular, I don't want to be giving a little kid anything extra that is beside the point.
No. Genexa has a huge network of healthcare professionals across the United States helping patients and their families join in this clean medicine revolution. It is real medicine, guys, made clean. So start cleaning out your medicine cabinet right now. Go to genexa.com/busy for 20% off your first purchase. That's Genexa, GENEXA.com/busy for 20% off your first purchase. That's genexa.com/busy. Caissie, guess what?
What?
I'm on my second Bev.
Wow.
I just opened it up because my food got here
Yeah.
and it's time to have dinner and I'm going to have my little Bev.
You had a podcast Bev and now you're having a dinner Bev.
I did have a podcast Bev because we were recording late today and I was like, it's 6 p.m. It's time for my Bev.
Yeah.
I don't have a Bev every night, but when I feel like a Bev, I got a Bev.
Yeah. That's why it's so perfect.
That's why it's perfect, because it's not a whole bottle of wine.
Right.
It's essentially like a glass and like a full pour.
Yeah.
Glass and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's canned wine, guys, founded by women, which, you know, we love to support female founded and run businesses businesses.
Yeah. And the woman that started Bev is just an exceptional woman. Just love her and love the company so much.
And honestly, love the taste.
Yeah.
They have 4 varietals of wine to choose from: Rosé, Sauv Blanc, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Noir. I'm having, this is can 2 of the rosé tonight.
Yeah.
It's very, like, dry and crisp, and it's a little fizzy, which I love.
I love anything with a little sparkle.
I do too. And it has 0 sugar and 3 carbs and 100 calories per serving. And listen to me, I want to say this right now. You know I am not a calorie counting bitch. Howevs, sometimes rosé season really does a number to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that this is 0 sugar. And because I feel like that makes a difference for me personally, because I do love a rosé. Anyway, I'm very into Bev. Ships straight to your door. Shipping's always free. Their 4-packs are great to bring over to a friend's house for, like, a little hostess gift, or if you're there going over for a dinner party.
Everybody's always so happy to get that as a hostess gift. No joke.
Correct. We've worked out an exclusive deal for Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best podcast listeners. You get to receive 20% off your first purchase plus free shipping on all orders. We suggest trying their best-selling Ladies' Night variety pack so you can check out all of the delicious varietals and decide which one you love the most. Why don't you go to drinkbev.com/busy or use code BUSY at checkout to claim the deal. That's drinkbev.com/busy. So what else should we talk about pop culture-wise? The Met Gala is tonight.
I know we're recording on Monday, so if we're not talking about anything that happened on Tuesday or Wednesday, that's why. We don't know about it yet. But what we do know is that the Met Gala is happening tonight. A lot of the usual suspects are not attending this year.
How do you know that?
Because people have said, Nicki Minaj, I think, has said that she's not attending, and Zendaya is not attending, and I think that there's some question about whether Beyonce is not attending because she's still away on her birthday celebration. Yeah, so
well, anyway, Fashion Week. That was what we were talking about. Anyway, whatever. It was fine. It was fun. I didn't do that much. I just went to a couple things. And I love fashion.
Yes.
And it was nice. I don't know. I thought it was nice. I thought I made a new best friend. And then now I realize we're not best friends at all. But that's okay.
I mean, maybe you can be friends with her, but just,
I don't know.
Knowing that there's always a danger you'll be in the background of an episode of The Real Housewives.
I bet you can make sure that you're not. I bet you can just
obviously
ask.
have to consent.
Are you filming?
To
Are
it.
you filming right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if so, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah. You can see cameras.
I mean, Ray really is gutting for it. He really wants it to happen.
I'm pretty sure Ray could just get on The Real Housewives on his own without you. I mean, it might be a little harder, but I'm pretty sure he could just be at some of those parties that they have. Every episode centers around some party that goes wrong.
Well, that's true.
And they need people to be at those parties.
I do think I would be good on the show.
I mean, I think you'd be good on the show because you're opinionated and you're emotional, and I think that'd be good. I just don't know that that's the kind of good you want to be. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's the thing that will bring me ultimate joy in my life.
Right. If here's the thing, and I think that The Real Housewives, as far as reality television go, they are really a lot of capable women, smart business women, and and sometimes they even talk about important issues, and people at home are educated on those issues. I think all that stuff is great. But for me, what I realized is that reality television in general, I don't find trauma entertaining. So I can't find it entertaining. That stuff is tough for me to watch. And I'm trauma is free. It is all around us for free. So when I'm watching something that is not.
And I guess for me too, yeah, trying to deal with my own trauma.
Yeah.
For a million years. It's just why would I want to then subject myself to more?
Yeah. That's
and then fabricated possibly.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, but it's interesting because I know really, really super smart people that they just live and breathe reality TV and they love it so much, and they have really fascinating scholarly takes on it, but it's not for me at this time. And especially where I worked in that area for so long, I was ready to put it aside and look at other things for a while.
It's not for me. I like this conversation. Ooh, it's not for me. Should that be a new t-shirt? It's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. No. I love that you love it. It's not for me.
Yes.
It's not for me. It's not for me. I have no judgments about you loving it. It's just not for me.
It's not for me.
It's just not for me.
I think it's not for me is a
me.
really useful phrase because I think it is a no judgment way to say yes, I love that you love it. It's not for me. But also it's a good thing to say to yourself sometimes when you're trying to fit into a group or a situation or an activity that you're just not fitting into. Sometimes you need to tell yourself, it's not for me.
It's not for me. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's not for me. No. Oh, I would love to come. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me, but it's not for me. Guys, it's not for me. It's my new favorite thing. Yeah, so we did Fashion Week, cried. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff, but I don't, whatever.
It's not for us.
It's not for you. It's not for you. And you know what we did do?
What?
We went upstate to see Pine Grove play.
Oh, yeah.
Outside.
Yeah, I saw.
At like Arrowwood Farms in Ackerd. And it was so beautiful. And just to like be outside and see live music. And it felt, everybody had to show proof of vax. And it was like fully just like in a field. And we were with a child, so we stayed kind of far away anyway. Yeah. So it's like, you're not in that, we weren't, guys, in the pit, as it were.
Right.
Wasn't all up in other people's shit.
Yeah.
But it was just like really beautiful and nice. And I did get a little stoned. I left the child with Mark. And I went and got a little stoned and like, yeah. And like, yeah, and that's when I think I decided to turn the corner and stop crying so hard.
Yeah.
Actually, I was stoned, so I can't quite remember, but I feel like there was a lyric.
Oh.
Or something that was like this is it. Like this is maybe it was a lyric from another song that like was playing in the car afterwards. But like something just like the idea of like, this just is it. Like, this is your life.
Yeah.
Like, and you're here and you're in it. And so we can mourn things and we can grieve things. We can move through things and all of that. But like, at the end of it, do you want to look back and be like, oh, I spent all that time crying.
Right.
Over things that had passed? Or do you just want to be like, I was there and I had like a great time.
Yeah.
And things happened that were painful. And then other choices were made.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the kind of person that I cry as I'm moving on. That's like classic New York, right? To cry as you're like going across town to where you're going, And I feel like, yeah, life is so limited. Even if life was 150 or 200 years long, it would be short. It wouldn't be all that you wanted, for most people. And so it's okay to cry about things, but also I think you do have to assess like, well, where am I? And like, what am I doing? And why am I doing this? And because sometimes I feel like sometimes we're even crying about getting stuff that we wanted. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, it's like, because it's not perfect or because of whatever. And like, it's never going to be the perfect situation. It's never going to be your whole checklist.
But also like excessive mourning of a thing is, I guess, I don't know. It's hard because we don't really have culturally, like we don't have like a really good way of moving on from things.
Right.
I wish we had a better way.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come up with it, guys.
Yeah.
And when I do, I'll let you know. But it's, because it's like, that's the thing that I feel like I get like bogged down. I don't know. That was like a real turning point for me.
Well, it's also like, I think that maybe we get bogged down because it's not definitive, right? Because like, if it's like, if someone dies, then that's definitive. But if it's anything else, it's never definitive. So there's so many like overlapping and,
right.
depending on like if it's a thing that's happening with you and your friend, like there has to be like some type of mutual agreement or just anything, any family situation, anything. It's never definitive. And I think so we always feel like we're in a holding pattern on something, but you can truly say like for me, I'm closing this box and moving on from this, and it's okay to do that. It's okay to do that because you can really, I guess you could cry for the rest of your life, but you can also like, how much can you cry? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know, but I also think it's really wild because it's Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Yes.
And so this is the start of the new year, the Jewish New Year, says the girl that was raised Catholic. But has always deeply identified with Judaism.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting that like the sort of like gulf of my grief has kind of gone through this time, and now we're here and it's going to be Yom Kippur, and like I'm starting literally the first day of the new year is when I'm going to this like, that's when I start this like retreat thing for a week. How fucking wild is that?
It's going to be super interesting, I think. Yeah, I'll be very interested because in terms of grief, like Lord knows I've felt it, and so I'm sympathetic to it. I also feel like, how this is me, like if I have a certain amount of time and a task to do, even if the task is relatively simple, I will expand how much time I need for the task to how much time I have. And I feel like sometimes...
Well, yeah, we're goldfish, you and me.
So I feel like, 8 hours to like lace up a pair of shoes, that's exactly how much I need, But I also feel like I can sometimes do that with sadness. Like, I'll be sad for however much time I have. And I think you have to be gentle with yourself and you have to honor your real feelings. But then I'm like, sometimes am I just like, is this just like eating chips or whatever? Like, does it feel good now, but it won't feel good later? So I'll be very interested about how your whole retreat goes and what you learn. And I think
Me
it'll
too.
Yeah, I think it's
Do you know
exciting.
the poem Heavy by Mary Oliver?
Yes. I saw someone posted it on Instagram, I think recently, but not you. But what part of Heavy, what were you referring to when?
I mean, the whole poem
is
like, that's what it's about, right? I was talking to Michelle, and I actually, because it was Michelle's birthday. Happy birthday, Michelle.
Happy birthday.
On September 9th. And I had been reading that poem, and I was like, do you know that poem? And she said no. And so I read it to her, and then she was like, you need memorize that. I love that. I don't know why I've never heard that Mary Oliver poem, or I never saw that, whatever. It's so good because it's just that the opening lines, that time I thought I could not go any closer to grief without dying. I went closer and I did not die. Surely God had his hand in this, as well as friends. Anyway, it's a fucking amazing poem.
Yeah. You seem lighter too. You seem like that corner really was a corner.
Yeah.
Don't go back around that corner.
I'm not. I was just reading the poem then. I was just reading the poem. Well, speaking of which, guys, we have literally two of our favorite people are our guests today.
We didn't even say what we're doing our best at this week.
We did. We did.
Did we?
I think so. I think we did. Okay. What are you doing your best at? I
don't know. I've just been writing a lot, just trying to write every day. Like, doesn't matter what it's for. Just trying to bang it out. Instagram posts, texts, writing.
I thought your September 11th post was really beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It
was the best one I read.
Thank you. I felt bad
macabre?
because I didn't go back and I didn't like any of the comments, which people were so nice. I did a post on September 11th just about my feelings about September 11th. And there's something about it. Like, there's something about it that it's hard to express, like how weird I feel about September 11th, because I didn't lose anyone in my like immediate circle, but I certainly knew people who were lost. But I was also like there, you know, like in the city, and
You were fully fucking there.
yeah, fully fucking there, and it fully fucking changed my life. It changed the life of my whole family, my child, the child that I was carrying. I feel like it just, you know, it changed the course of our life. And there's something about it that has always kind of like gotten under my skin. Just, I mean, living in New York and having people ask you like which way to the hole in the ground always bothered me. The t-shirts always bother me. And
The Eagles.
Yeah. And like, I didn't even write everything because this is really weird. And I've never really admitted this, but I woke up the night of the morning of September 11th. I woke up in the wee hours of the morning, having had like a terrible nightmare about something terrible happening downtown. And Matt was like, this is like a weird pregnancy, like nightmare. And I was like, no, I had a dream that like a giant eagle was fighting with a giant turkey and knocking buildings down downtown. And he was like, okay, settle down, go back to sleep. You know, you have to go back to sleep. And
For reference, though, guys, I did have a dream when I was pregnant that my cat was trying to breastfeed and biting my nipples off. So, like, you know, you do have weird pregnancy dreams.
Yes, that's
so it is
totally
like
true.
It is like fair for Matt to be like, all right, you're gonna be fine.
Yes. And so, you know, and he just felt so bad for me because I was like in hysterics. And then I woke up and it was such a beautiful morning. And I was like, what a terrible night. But it's like when a fever breaks. And I was just like, it's so beautiful. And this is the most beautiful city in the world. And I really took like the long way to my office with my son, who was coming to be taken care of in the daycare at the show where I worked. And then like within hours, like the entire world had changed, but New York City had really changed. And it's weird, right? Because everybody has like their narrative that and their memories of that day and what happened after. But I really have a hard time with it. I have a hard time with it because I feel like it's a thing that the whole country went through, but a lot of people like had never even been to New York City. And it's not to say like you can't, you know, whatever, but it's just like that it's worn like some badge of pride, like this patriotic pride about how the country came together. And it like came together in some respects, but also like came together to give people who are brown a hard time, you know, things like that, so I've always just had really, really complicated feelings. And I mostly was just thinking about like, gosh, all these, like the kids that lost their parents and that were born, like 9/11 babies that were born, who lost their parents before they were even born. They're like grown up now, and it's wild. But anyway, I wrote a post on Instagram. That's one of the things that I was like, I'm just going to write like what I want to say. And I didn't go back and like any of the comments because that also felt gross to me. But I felt, you know, I'm very grateful for the nice things that people said. Anywho.
I don't think I commented because I think I thought I would just tell you.
Either way, it's all much appreciated, but I just felt like to go and be like, thank you for liking my thing, I felt like wasn't my vibe that day. Yeah.
No, it was a thing that like I have oft struggled with knowing how to articulate anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's just fucking wild. It's a wild thing that we experienced. And there are some people listening to this that didn't.
Yeah.
That don't even remember.
Weren't even born yet.
Or we're like in like second grade or like
Yes.
first grade.
Yeah.
Like when I was in first grade when the Challenger disaster happened.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And I remember that like not as a thing that really, I mean, I remember it very clearly, but we drove back from upstate that day on September 11th and it was another like beautiful day in New York.
Yeah.
And I had posted the day before, which is so fucking weird because I knew that the 20th anniversary was coming, but I hadn't like sort of put together what I was posting in terms of like what it was, which was just that like I had the most New York week of all New York weeks.
Yes.
Like the most magical fucking filled with like art and culture and fashion and insanity and like and music and concerts and like trips to Brooklyn and the really good food and like just all of this stuff that just was at my doorstep. Like I didn't even ask for it. It was just like, oh wait, you're here? Come here.
Right.
Come here. Oh wait, you're here? Come here. And it was just fucking beautiful. It was a beautiful week. And even though I was like going through my own personal shit, but like I was still able to like appreciate and see the beauty in it. And like that my kids got to have that too.
Yeah. In
this incredible place. And we went upstate, saw the band play on Friday night and came back on Saturday on September 11th. And then like later that day, we were going to pick up Birdie at like their best friend who lives in Brooklyn's house.
Yeah.
And one of their close friends lives like right over the Brooklyn Bridge, like in Brooklyn Heights.
Yeah.
And we kind of took a wrong turn because it gets kind of confusing over there after you go over the bridge.
Yeah.
And we passed this block that had been shut down, and it was the block that the fire station was on. And they just had like this full like block party happening, and it was just like families, and we were driving kind of slowly because we were in a neighborhood, you know, and I was like, oh fuck, man, look at all those, like all those families, all those kids, and the people, like they must have all lost people they loved, you know?
Yeah.
Like they must, like that's right, you know? Like, and they're having this, and they're coming together, and they're having this like block party, and the whole neighborhood was there, and it was so fucking moving. It was very moving. And Mark was like, I wonder if, I mean, they must have been some of the first responders because they're right here. Mm-hmm. And so he then last night, I think, was watching the like 60 Minutes special about the firefighters and the first responders.
Yeah.
And that battalion was like, they were there was the Tribeca station, you know, and then the Brooklyn
station,
station came right over and were the first ones in, and like, and they lost all their guys. Like,
I mean, just to put it in perspective, this is also something that I was thinking about, and I couldn't articulate it well, so I chose not to write about it. But like when you see someone that's been in an accident, someone that hurts themselves, and they have like a bump on their head, or they're bleeding, or it's a shock. It's such a shock. And so that was just a day where there was an entire city of people who it just looked like people were coming home from a war, and those were the people that were getting to come home. But living in Brooklyn, like I was trying to get back to Brooklyn with my baby, and my husband was stuck in Brooklyn. The phone lines were all jammed. You couldn't call in or out of anywhere. So I couldn't get a hold of my husband, who had driven by the World Trade Center after dropping me off at work. So I didn't know what had happened to him for the longest time. And then finally I was able to get him. And the only way, because like subways weren't going and trains weren't going and planes were flying over Manhattan, fighter jets and all kinds of things, and you could smell the fuel and you could smell the fire, and almost every person that you saw was covered in dust or bumped or bruised, and everybody was just in shock and in pain. And that is something like I've never seen before in my life. And so yeah, it does get under my skin a little bit when someone is wearing like a $7 t-shirt about how we can't ever forget and how the country has to stay strong, because, you know, everybody that was there, it was pretty strong. And certainly has never forgotten a moment of anything they saw that day. Mm. But so that is kind of like, that's kind of where I am this week. And it was, I can't believe it's been 20 years, because it feels like every fucking day, it feels like it was yesterday, you know?
Yeah, I do.
And also, just sending tons of love because I can't imagine that I'm anywhere close to alone in feeling this way, and I just know so many people that like New York is their home and it will be forever. So many people that couldn't make it in New York and had to leave, but their heart is still there. And, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of people carrying something around, and everybody paid kind of a high price that day for living in the greatest city in the world. Like, that's a lot to see. And that is something that will never exactly leave you. So, so just sending lots of love to people that lost their faith, that, somebody like me who's still like a little confused and salty about it,
Well,
that's me with everything.
Also same.
Confused and salty. But thank you for reading it, and thank you for saying nice things about it, and thank you to everyone that did.
Well, I don't think I need to say what I'm doing my best at this week, because I'm doing my best at turning a fucking corner. So there we go.
You turned that corner.
I'm turning it.
Yeah. And I think you're there. I feel like you're there. I feel like you're around the corner and that old street is behind you.
I hope so. I also think, though, sometimes my therapist likes to say, just when you think you've got a handle on something, it will come back to rear its fucking head one more time.
Of course.
To just give you a real punch in the gut. So,
well, that's the thing about turning corners, right? Keep turning corners. You'll be right back on the same fucking street.
Oh, man. I hope not. Well, anyway, we had the absolute, it was a hard week for me emotionally. It was a great week in so many ways. It was a hard week in very specific ways.
Yeah.
And the day that we were talking to our guests, I was like, kind of like, I don't really feel like doing this. I almost called Caissie and said, like, I don't think so. I don't think that I can do this.
Yeah.
And because it was Tompkins and Janie Haddad-Tompkins, I thought, well, even if I just got on this Zoom with them and said nothing, it would be fine, because I've been such good friends with them for so long that I know they would be chill with it.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, they are just infectious, lovely, infectious in the best way. Not in a COVID Delta variant way.
19 way. They're just
like fucking delightful. And we had the best conversation. And obviously I got emotional.
Obviously I did as well, because
we cried.
We both cried. They're two, as I say to them in the interview, that I think I am always saying they're two of my best friends, and they really are. They're just, they're wildly talented and lovely people, but also just really, really good friends. And I feel so lucky. Both. Yeah.
They both are. They are just the best. I love that they're married. I love that they love each other. I love that I just love everything. And if you don't subscribe, listen to their podcast yet, what the fuck are you doing with your lives? Anyway, take a listen. Paula F. Tompkins and Janie Haddad-Tompkins. I am so excited about Babbel. Let me tell you something. I got two things to say about Babbel.
Tell me.
Number one, Cricket's in a Spanish immersion program at school.
Yes.
It didn't even occur to me that Cricket can use Babbel.
Yeah. And you can use it too, so you can keep up with Cricket.
Yeah, Caissie, it's a game changer. A game changer, because it's 15-minute lessons. Make it the perfect way to learn the new language on the go. And listen, they help you improve your pronunciation and accent. And there's you can access podcasts and games and videos and stories and even live classes. And I just have to tell you, it has been a real game changer. Now, Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app, and I get it. I get it.
Yes.
Through Babbel's bite-sized lessons, you get to learn a new language you can actually use in the real world, from greetings and menus and directions, gaining a deeper understanding of the culture. Babbel is a travel essential.
Yeah.
Other language learning apps apparently use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 100 language experts. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. You can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. And you know what Birdie's doing on Babbel?
What?
Swedish.
Oh, because they love the Young Royals.
Young Royals. So they are legit learning Swedish on Babbel so that they can like maybe watch next year without subtitles. I don't know, but I'm like supportive because it's another language. That you know what I mean? Like it's so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So there are just like many ways to learn, and you should start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you're going to get an additional 3 months for free. That is 6 months, guys. Can you do the math? I can. For the price of 3. It's like half off.
Yeah.
Just go to Babbel.com. Use the promo code BEST. That's Babbel, BABBEL.com. Code BEST. Babbel, language for life.
Recording.
We just usually record everything and then we wait for people to say really personal things that they think aren't being recorded. We never use any of the personal stuff. We just do it for like the psychological power move of having someone be nervous.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, if you don't have blackmail information on someone, what's the point?
Right. I mean, I think we all learned that from the Nexium documentary.
Yes.
Collateral.
Collateral.
Busy. Any news on your biopsy? I've been following along.
Guess what?
What?
I just got texted like 20 minutes ago, Caissie, Janie, Paul.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's benign.
Fantastic.
Oh, thank goodness.
Fantastic.
Did you text your mom? Text your mom.
I did.
Okay,
I texted my mother. So now I just have to now I can go see the people in New York that she referred me to who can do the like weird procedure where I think it's radio frequency that they put.
So there's
in
no
your
incision. There's no incision.
It's like a bigger needle, and they like fill it with or they radio frequency it or something for a period
They
of
fill
time.
it with radio.
They fill it with radio
Yeah.
waves.
Rick D's.
Do you know that D's nuts is a very popular joke with children?
Yes.
Still?
Well, but D's nuts isn't Rick D's, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
But he did, but Rick D's did use D's nuts
I'm sure.
at a certain
I mean,
point.
he had
Yeah.
to. He
No,
must
he
have.
did. I mean, he did.
He had to.
But also, I had a
Got to get out in front of it.
Paul and Janie. How long have the two of you been in Los Angeles? I feel like it's as long as I was in LA.
I have been in Los
Paul's
Angeles.
longer, yeah.
Yeah, since 1994.
Right.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. I'm 97.
Wow.
Okay, I'm literally to 2001. I'm coming up on my 20th anniversary of
That's
moving
right.
here because I moved here from Manhattan right after 9/11. I moved here November 7th, 2001. I was living in
Wow.
Manhattan, and I was like,
I thought you were going to
I'm
say,
done.
I moved here on November 7th, 9/11.
9/11 year.
Like that whole
9/11
year is
year.
9/11.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I'm the I guess the newbiest. The newbiest.
Well, no, Caissie is.
No,
technically.
Casey.
Oh, Caissie.
Casey just
Well,
got
yeah.
here. But what I was going to say is that
Well,
I was
obviously.
with a bunch of kids recently, as I often am because of the kids. And
of all your kids.
they were these boys were just like not these like 8-year-old boys, 7-year-old boys were just doing these D's nuts jokes, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so wild. And then I remembered that in the mid-late 90s in LA, there was actually like a street racing crew in like Westchester, Inglewood, where I lived because I went to Loyola Marymount University, that was called D's Nuts. And I know it's a thing from The Chronic, which, you know, Dr. Dre's album, The Chronic.
Yeah.
That's where, I think that's I mean, if we could only look it up.
There was only a way.
Why? What? But you know what? I
miss these nuts.
I miss D's nuts for sure, but I also I do miss the ability to make up
to know things. Yeah.
Yeah, just like
To just
make up
know
that
what
you
you
know something. Yeah, you
Know
knew
what
what you
you
knew.
know.
I do that all the time. It's called lying.
I
No.
But I have to share this just really quick because we're talking about these nuts. But I arranged an airport ride for me and Paul one Christmas. For we're going back to South Carolina for Christmas, and I was texting with the driver. You know,
It was like an app, right? Was it Wings?
It was Wings app.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still around because now you can just use Uber or Lyft to prearrange. And he was like, en route, you know, da 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 da. And I was like, great, we'll be out front, blah blah blah. And then he texted D's nuts. And
No, he did not.
Yeah, and then
it was an amazing wrong window where he was
And then he was
clearly
like,
meant to send this to his friend, and he's
Yeah.
like, well, you know, she's been looking good, and wait till she.
Oh, yeah, she's been looking-
She's been on a steady diet of D's nuts.
That's
And
right.
then-
He said she's been
Yeah.
on a steady diet of these nuts.
No,
and I was
absolutely
like,
not.
question mark or whatever. And then he's
Yeah.
like, oh, wrong window. My cousin has a nut allergy or
No,
She's-
like,
no.
no.
She's been doing a weight loss program that incorporates a lot of nuts. Then he texted a picture of his hand holding a bag of nuts.
No, he did not. Oh, he was trying to dig himself out so hard.
Yeah.
All he
Yeah,
had
yeah,
to
yeah.
do was say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ugh, sorry,
Yeah.
wrong
Yeah.
thread.
And then
Yeah.
then we got in the car and drove to the airport like 6 in the damn morning, you know, like just pretending like
We were dying.
Dying.
I
Really
love him. He probably
amazing.
rushed out to buy those nuts to take that picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
for
he
sure.
had it in a special like photos album just in case.
Hard
Poor guy.
screeching
Like
pullover to a gas station. 4 lanes of traffic.
Oh
To
my
buy
God.
a bag of Bazzini's nuts.
This is so.
What nuts do you have?
I didn't realize D's
D's?
Nuts was such an old reference,
Oh yeah,
like
It's a classic.
90s.
Well, it's I mean, I do think the Chronic, the joke or what were they, the little skits on the Chronic on the album.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time it was like widely like known. D's
Got
Nuts.
it.
I imagine
Yeah.
it was like probably a thing that had predated the album, but it was put into pop culture permanently on that album.
With that particular album. Yeah.
With
okay,
that
yeah.
album. Maybe the Racing Crew predated the album. Maybe
Who knows?
who knows what
Who
is
knows?
possible.
We're not going to look it up. And
Nope.
also challenge for listeners: don't you look it up and tell us
Send it.
either.
Don't send any
Good
of us.
listener challenge.
Don't send any of us the real information.
Yeah,
on
we
it.
don't. I actually do not care.
Yeah, some people are composing tweets right now.
Let us have this. Let us have this.
Let us have this blissful ignorance.
Imaginary, blissful.
Janie, wait. I want to say people already know who you are because we said it right before this interview started. But Paul F. Tompkins, Janie Haddad-Tompkins. Did you ever consider just doing Janie H. Tompkins? Janie
yeah,
H.
I mean
Tompkins.
that makes sense. The most sense. And I should just do Janie H.
What do people
Tompkins.
instead of Haddad? I know how to say it.
Yeah.
Haddad.
Haddad.
A lot of people say Haddad.
Or Haddad. Haddad.
Haddad.
I've
Yeah.
never heard Haddad.
Haddad.
It's just Haddad. Yeah.
Like Gigi Hadid?
Oh,
Oh, Hadid.
yeah. That's
I'm
it.
surprised people don't say Hadid.
Hadid. Yeah, because
Because it's in the
obviously
zeitgeist.
we're so similar, me and Gigi.
The people that say Haddad really like to pour on the sauce when they say it.
Yeah,
too.
they are like they think it's like so exotic, and I'm like, no, it's so
They're like
American.
newscasters.
Yeah, It's like-
Oh, this is my friends, Paul Tompkins, Janie Haddad.
it's like Alex Trebek like giving an answer on Jeopardy.
Your high school
R.I.P.
language teacher. I always
know,
knew how to
R.I.P.,
pronounce it
R.I.P.
because I once worked with the great Tammy Haddad.
That's right.
Oh, I don't know Tammy Haddad, do I?
She's like she's a lady television executive that I
Hello,
worked-
Tammy. Call me up.
Yeah. She works more in the news space.
Oh,
than
okay.
the comedy space.
Yeah,
Tammy, put that phone down.
Tammy, don't call me up. I have no news.
We are not trying to get on the news.
I don't even Google these nuts, so I'm not a good source.
Yeah.
Terrible source.
Oh, I'm so glad that we are talking to you guys because it has just been a real shitstorm of terrible everything in the world and personally and professionally. I mean, just everything. Caissie, what do you think? And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yesterday, my therapist said to me, well, it's hard to even know where one thing stops and another thing picks right on up. So, and I was like, wow, well, we're all experiencing it.
That's
But-
you pay the big
What?
bucks to hear.
I know. But
like,
no, she really was trying
Basically,
to
it's a
help
shit
me.
show. Yeah.
It's a shit show, but it's a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I'm very grateful that we get to just have this ease of an interview today for the episode, because I honestly, I'm not even kidding you. I almost was like, I don't even know if I can do this. But now that I'm here talking to you guys, my good friends, Janie and Paul, and Caissie, obviously. I'm very, very, very happy to talk to you guys. I love you both so much.
I love
Busy,
you.
we love you
Busy.
too. And
I
we're
mean,
thrilled to be here. I know
it is.
I know
It's
that your
just like-
audience was like, get more nobodies on the show.
And we're here.
I don't think anyone thinks of either of you as a nobody.
Janie and Paul are also friends of mine. You hold the distinction of being, and tell me if this is like, am I alone in this? Viewers, you can write in about this. I am terrible. I'm not the best at having friends. Like, I feel like it's a skill I learned in adulthood. It wasn't something that I was always like the third wheel of like a best friend pair, like throughout my life. And so anywho, I have a weird, like a lot of people have best friends, and I've always been like, what's that like to have a best friend? But you are two of the people that I will say, oh, they're like two of my best friends, and then people are like, oh, you're best friends with Paul and Janie, and then I'll always clarify, well, I never said that I'm their best friend. I said that they're my best friend.
like we're going around issuing like corrections. Like,
Yeah, like I feel like
Oh, I know she says this, but it's actually it's one-sided.
I just
Guys,
always
can we
want
talk
to
about this for a
clarify.
second? Though? Really, I do too. I want to clarify too, because here's the thing. I know what best is a designator for. I know what it means. However, I believe that best friends can be many and all
Absolutely.
types.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, people frequently think you can only have one best friend, but I just don't think that's true.
No,
No,
I
I
don't
agree.
think that's true either. My issue
I agree.
is I never want to speak for the other party in my best friendship.
Oh, I
can only say
Yeah.
who is a best friend to me, but I cannot
yeah.
say I'm a best friend to them.
I would like to give permission to both Busy and Caissie to freely use whatever designation of friendship you
Absolutely.
want with me, because I love
You could say
both.
we're work friends. That's fine with me.
That's rude. That feels rude. That feels rude.
No, don't say that.
I don't like
that.
that.
Sounds sad.
I actually, now I'm upset.
But can I,
It was going so well. It can turn on a dime, guys. Just so you know.
may I say this? I'm surprised to hear that to hear Caissie say
Yeah.
that friendship is a skill that she learned in adulthood, because
Yeah.
and that I feel like you have thousands of friends,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
that you are close with many people. I that's the way I've always thought of you.
Same.
Oh, that's nice. I
Agreed.
think you and I had a really because I was a fan of yours before we were friends, and I just felt like I don't often feel like I'm in the weeds, you know? And I felt like the first 5 times I ever talked to you, I was like, what the fuck am I even saying? Like, then I would be like, you know what? You're just getting in your own head about this. And then people would be like, what the fuck were you even saying to him?
No.
Oh my God.
Well, drop those people.
What were you talking about? And so like the first 5 times I ever met you, I was like, well, if he wants to continue talking to me after this, then, you know, he's just a very, very exceedingly kind person, because I don't even know what I'm saying.
See, my memory is that we connected pretty quickly.
Yes.
And that this is, of course, for people who don't know, Caissie and I met doing Best Week Ever, the original Best Week Ever on Video Hits 1. And I was one of many talking heads. And I can't imagine you knew me from anything other than that. But
No,
you
I
would
did.
see, what did you know me from?
From Mr. Show.
But I mean, when people say they're a fan of me from Mr. Show, I assume they mean they're a fan of all of Mr. Show, and because I was a part of it, they're a fan of me as a result of that.
You know that I was like maniacal about Mr. Show, though. Like, it was like we were the only people that had cable our age, Matt and I, my husband and I, and like people would come over to watch Mr. Show, and every week it would end up, it would be rough because I would be like, I would start like laying down rules about the level of volume that people could talk at. And so I would just be like, if you can't shut the fuck up during Mr. Show, you need to take your 6-pack that you brought and get out of here. I told you, I don't know how to have friends. You've never seen
Janie,
it?
you've never seen it?
She's never
No.
seen it.
And I got to do a part in the reboot.
With Bob and David.
Thank you,
But
Bob
she's still never seen
Odenkirk,
it.
for that.
That's amazing.
Like, I was not a super fan like Caissie. Also, I did not have HBO for sure.
Oh.
It was on HBO,
I didn't either
right?
when I was working on Mr. Show.
Yeah, I didn't have. I was one of those people. So like, the stuff that I saw then also was like later.
Sure.
Yeah.
Watched it
Because
But
it caught
I don't know.
on.
But I also knew you from Tenacious D,
Oh, sure. The
which
open
I
mic
also
host.
was maniacal about.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Anyway.
my college boyfriend was maniacal about Tenacious D.
Yeah.
Really?
Colin,
'Cause it was
he
for
was like
boys.
obsessed with it. It was
Oh,
was
no
for
way. Colin.
Yeah.
I just saw Colin on TV last night because I watched the
What was-
new
was
the
it
new
good?
Ryan Murphy
Yeah, American Story impeachment.
about the impeachment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had I like all of the Ryan Murphy true stuff.
Do you?
Just the
yeah.
true stuff. I don't watch the horror.
What's your favorite?
The OJ.
The OJ one.
Well,
We love the
I
OJ
also
one.
I very much loved Feud. I watched it twice.
Oh, Feud is your fave, yeah.
I didn't see
With-
Feud either, but
Okay, I think Feud is like awesome because it's about like the Betty Davis, Joan Crawford stuff.
Feud. Their feud.
They're
A feud, if you will.
It's about a
feud.
feud. It's about a feud.
Feud.
So
They tend to be literally named those real feud, impeachment.
Here's what happens.
it's also like, to me, it's about like women aging in Hollywood and how brutal, especially of their time, you know,
Yeah.
like to me, it was like about all of that. And I was just fascinated by it in that regard. And also Jessica Lange is like otherworldly awesome. in
Yeah.
it.
She
Yeah,
really
Truly.
is.
Yeah,
I should have
yeah.
watched that, but I don't even really watch anything anymore.
Oh, really?
Busy
Yeah.
thought that Busy came in the middle of the Tiger Woods documentary, and she thought it was about the Night Stalker.
I thought it was about. I thought. Okay. All right. Let me. This is. By the way, we'll probably have to cut this out because we've already told this story on the podcast, I think. But
It never stops being funny.
okay, I came home from work. All I knew is that Mark had been talking about watching the Night Stalker documentary. The Tiger Woods one wasn't even on my radar. Okay,
Sure,
so I didn't
sure.
even know it existed.
Yeah.
And then I walked into the room, and this is the snippet that I hear as I walk in. He had a van that was parked just in the back of the parking lot of the golf course, and he would take women in there.
The dad, because that's his.
It's about the dad. They were talking about the dad. I literally was like, wait, I didn't know anything about like the Night Stalker with women and the golf course.
Right.
And he was a golf pro, and I was like, what the fuck? And then
The Night Stalker was Tiger Woods' dad.
Wait, but Mark wasn't in the room. Like, it was just on, and then he had like gone to see something with the kid. A kid. I don't remember which one. And so I was like, and I'm like watching this. I'm like, oh my God, it's so wild. And Mark walks back in, and I was like, well, turn it off. I don't want to watch any like scary murder stuff. And he's like, what are you saying?
I'm sorry. I know I'm like crying, laughing.
I thought that he was a golf pro that had a camper
Had
and then
a
took
van.
the women in there.
He took the women in the van.
I gotta say, that's fair. You know what? I don't blame you.
It's kind
Not
of
knowing about either thing.
I can see. Yes, I can see it.
It's creepy in a different way. It's just it's
mean,
still
for
creepy in a
sure.
different way. It's still creepy.
Creepy in a different way. Also, like, I don't understand people who like have sex with their exercise people, like they're golf pros, tennis pros.
Yeah.
It's just so confusing to me. Like, how do you make that transition?
Yeah, it doesn't seem sexy. If anyone saw me working out, they would not
That's
be
what I'm
tempted.
saying. Yes. Right. Like, I'm like, it's gross.
Yeah.
It's not a cute thing. I
No.
don't know. Whatever.
Well,
it doesn't
it's all
engender like sexy feelings for me, I guess, is what I'm saying.
It's all the touching,
Working
I
out.
guess, with those sports.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you're always like it looks like Lamaze a lot. Like the person's always down at your ankles and looking at your
are?
business before you're.
What?
Yeah, like if
Really?
they're like holding at your ankles.
I've never played golf, so
Not golf.
Maybe that's a
I don't know.
thing.
Maybe do you do crunches before golf? I don't know.
Sure. I know I do.
Oh, that.
But if a trainer or like golf, you get behind them to help them with their
Tin cup,
swing.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like standing spooning.
Tennis and golf, I think, are the two chief sports where you can get behind somebody and start touching them and having them mimic your movements, like that, using that as an excuse to
Right.
get on them. And then, of course, you start grinding.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Just
Then, of course, you start grinding.
see what happens.
You guys. How's your podcast? How's the Stay F Homekins?
Homekins.
F
Stay at Homekins. It's actually very fun and it's going well. We're kind of slowing down our rollout schedule. Paul's on it. He has his other podcasts, so we've got to keep.
Yes,
We've
the
gotta
other
keep this-
podcast that Paul is on is every other podcast.
Is every
Every
yeah, and
every
so we
single
can't,
other one.
We can't
Paul,
spread our
would you
audience.
say
around.
I don't want to? Would you say you are like in so many ways like the uncle of podcasting?
I don't know where in the family I would be most, where it would make the most sense. But I know that somebody once told me,
You're a relative for sure. You're
I'm
in the
I'm
immediate.
in the family,
You're in the
absolutely.
family.
yeah, and an older member, I think.
I
think that's
so
fair to
too.
say.
What's the guy term for grande dame?
Like your great
Il
uncle?
Divo?
Are you the Il Divo? What?
I'm the Il Divo of podcasting, sure.
The
But
Dawn?
yeah, somebody
The
once
Dawn?
told me that I am a good first guest for a podcast because people will seek out my name to get into a podcast. Like if they hear of a podcast, they will search my name to see if I've been on it and make that their first episode.
Well, we fucked up.
No, full year in.
I think you're fine.
You're
I think
doing
you're
fine. You didn't need that. You
I
didn't
don't
need
think
that.
you need to worry.
You had.
I'm not sure about that.
I mean, listen, we fucked a lot of things up. We might as well just add one thing. We're finally figuring it out.
We're finally figuring it out.
Ironing
what?
out the details.
We are.
Nobody knows. Everybody just does what they can.
Yeah, and I think it takes a while before, whether you think you have figured it out or not, I think it takes a while for you to feel that way.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like when you finally feel like, oh, I know what our formula is. I know what, this doesn't feel like awkward to me anymore, what we do at this part or whatever, but you may already have been there before you felt it.
What do you think that's the secret to life?
God damn,
Yeah.
I guess so.
It's gotta be.
Right?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Fact.
Actually, no, I do think that you have not figured it out until you feel like you figured it out as far as life goes.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you're ever in a point in at least speaking personally. I don't think I've ever been at a point in my life where I'm like, I actually was doing okay the whole time. Like it is minute by minute for sure.
No, I don't know.
But I think it's different for different people.
I think
Right.
figuring it out could be a bad place
I
to
think
be.
yes. I think feeling like, oh, I've got this all. I know what life is. You're fucked.
What's the
Yeah.
point of life if it's already? I thought the whole point of life is the constant figuring out.
Or
agree.
I thought you were about to say it's a constant struggle.
Well, figuring things out can be a struggle.
You know
Yeah,
what?
well, for some of us.
Yeah.
I don't know if all of life is a constant struggle, but I think that struggles are a constant part of life. That things as you move through it, it's like you have to worry about different things, and then other things you don't have to fucking worry about anymore. Some things that were like a huge struggle for you at one point, you get to a point in life where you're like, I can't believe I worried about that.
Yeah.
I can't believe that was ever a thing that I invested so much time and emotion in. And then you're looking at things like, now this shit right now, this is serious, and I have to be worried about it.
Wait, what's the
Right.
thing that you have let go of being worried about that used to plague both of you?
For me,
individually, not together.
Yeah. For me, I will say that I think it took me forever, and I think I am finally at the point where I don't really care what other people think of me. And this is, Truly, I don't. Yeah, I'm going to be 53 this month, and it took me this long, to say like I really don't care. Like I think because I like myself more as a person than I ever have before. Like right now I have the least amount of self-loathing, which is not to say zero.
Wow. On the scale. The scale of self-loathing.
On a scale of absolute self-loathing to a little bit, I'm at a little bit.
My thing, I think that I've not, because I'm not at a place where I don't care because I still get in my head about stuff. But for me, it's been, I think I'm better with rejection just because of acting, and like having to get rejected so much. I've gotten to a place where it still stings, but I get through it much quicker than when I was younger.
Yeah.
And internalize it less.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't think necessarily that rejection you don't take it as deeply personal.
Yeah. Like I'm not like, oh my God, I suck. What have I done? Now it's more like they made a mistake. Good luck.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Even just like watching the Ryan Murphy thing, I was up for a part in it and I didn't get it. And I was really bummed out about it. And I was like, I don't care. I'm not going to let it ruin me watching it, But I would have probably not watched it like 10 years ago.
I think I think that recognizing those things and being like, that's where I'm at and like, that's fucking cool. Like, I love that. I love being able to, so I'm so fucking hard on myself. I often skip the step that you just did where you're like, oh, that used to be a thing. And now I'm like, I'm going to enjoy this show, even though I didn't get the part. So I love that. I think that's like a thing that I need to implement more.
It's hard.
Recognizing it. Yeah, it's hard.
Did you feel yourself like getting there? Was there something that you did, or did you just notice it one day? Like, oh, I don't take this as hard as I used to.
I mean, I've been actively working on it for a long time because I feel like, you get rejected so much in acting. And if you're totally destroyed and disintegrated every single time, you'll never persist.
Especially when you have to live in LA, you will literally be driving down the street and see billboards for 3 things that you didn't get cast in or that you didn't get hired on.
Not me, but yeah. Maybe one thing.
I have to say there is like a real shift in living in New York with that stuff.
Is there?
Like, yeah, like I don't even know how to explain how little I know about all of the things because it's just not, it is. And then the month that we spent back in Los Angeles over the summer, I knew about everything. And it's just like, guys, it's not even really a Hollywood break. I mean, I don't know. You've probably seen pictures of Los Angeles, but if you've not been to Hollywood and Los Angeles and driven around, like you don't, I think, fully understand that like the entire place is papered.
You can't escape it. It's an industry town, period.
From the sidewalk to the clouds of different people's projects, faces, new things that are coming out.
Just like, everyone succeeding around you.
In Los Angeles, I know that parents actually alter their routes when they have their kids in the car because of certain billboards are like
we had to do that because of American Horror Story.
So they won't drive past a horrifying billboard. Yeah.
Oh, their route.
Yeah.
Well, because you drive past
like
an American Horror Story like tongue snake going into someone's ear once, and your 6-year-old is like traumatized.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, we're not taking Sunset for the next 3 months. Okay.
Yeah.
There was some show. I can't remember what the name of the show was, but there was a billboard where it was a close-up of an eyeball with like a little worm crawling out of it. And it's like, what the
Sci-Fi.
fuck are you?
It was on Sci-Fi.
What are you doing?
It was horrible.
Horrible.
And
made me so
that
mad.
Also, it's bad for parents of young children in Los Angeles the month of October because the haunted hayride,
everything,
billboards, the haunted not scary farm, haunted Universal, even like spooky
haunted
Disneyland.
Erewhon.
I mean, be clear, Erewhon is always haunted.
Always
Absolutely.
haunted. Always haunted by the
Absolutely.
ghost of how much money you used to have
Yeah.
before you went in there.
I mean, I lived in New York some on and off, and I did feel like I got more auditions in New York than in LA when I was there.
Oh, interesting. Huh. What do you think that was about?
Less actors. I'm serious. I'm totally serious.
I don't know if that's true, Janie. There are a lot of actors in New York.
But I swear there's more out here.
Well, there probably are. And there are people that there are more people that go up for television and film stuff, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
in
that
LA
might be
than
true. That might be true.
Here, a lot of people who are like hardcore into theater
Yeah.
are hardcore into theater. Like they want to song and dance
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about billboards in Los Angeles is that frequently studios will, I guess at the urging of a manager or an agent, will put a billboard for a project near
We've talked
the
about
home. You talked about this already?
this. Yeah, because they did it to me for Busy Tonight.
Did they really?
Yeah. Mhm. And I had two. There were two billboards in all of Los Angeles. One was on my route to my Lec Fit workout, and the other one was on my route to SoulCycle.
Wow. Now, did you know this was going to happen?
I didn't know at the time that it was a thing. And it's generally speaking not like at the request of managers or agents. It is like the company, the parent company.
They find out where
who-
you live.
They're like, this'll shut her up.
You know, best friend Emily Beebe, of
Yeah.
course. Well, she's worked in market research and marketing forever and advertising forever. And she's the one that told me that for certain brands that she had worked on, they would find out where like big wigs at the companies that worked, and
Yeah.
they would like make sure that the billboard was on their not worked, lived, and made sure that the billboard was on their route to work. They would
Right.
like research, they would literally look up routes of
amazing.
people.
Does that mean Chaz Dean lives in near your old neighborhood?
I think he probably just bought that billboard.
Oh,
for
he bought
himself.
that. You're right.
Yeah.
When I worked for Dave Letterman, CBS got a billboard that like directly looked into his own office of his own giant face. And then one time we took we took the show to Los Angeles, and they must have done the same thing, knowing they're going to be coming. We had chartered a jet. The whole staff went on one jet together so we could all fly together, possibly die together, but we didn't. And they picked us up on the tarmac in like whatever, a small bus, and were bringing us to the hotel. And I sat with Dave, of course, because I worked for him. I dozed off onto his shoulder. Ew, like that's so weird to doze off onto anyone's shoulder is so embarrassing, but to have it be your boss, ew, cursed. But I woke up just in time to see a giant billboard, and I went, oh, like I jumped, and then he was like, did you just literally jump at the sight of my face? And I was like, it's a giant billboard of your face. But now that I'm thinking
You were
about
like,
it,
am I having one of those work nightmares, or
yeah,
am
like
I awake?
he's here. Yeah, it was also weird. But they must have, now that you're mentioning this, Paul, they must have done their research what we were going to drive by.
I mean,
Absurd.
it is absurd, and it's also like it's so fucking fascinating to me how like ego drives everything, you know?
Yeah.
And like if you I don't know, like that's the reasoning behind it. They want like the star to be like, I mean, they are putting money behind my show. I've seen billboards everywhere. And then like if you don't if you don't realize that there's just like two giant billboards.
Right.
You're
In
just
the
seeing
world.
just
In the
seeing
whole
the
world.
one repeatedly because you live under it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen this billboard 50 times now
I mean,
in the last 50 days.
I was like, because I knew about this from Emily Beebe, I was like pissed about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you can ask Caissie. At the time, I was like mad about it. I was like, oh, really? You buy
Yeah.
two fucking tiny billboards on my route to my gym? Oh, you know me so well.
right.
Like,
I mean, it's manipulative, though.
it is
be honest.
manipulative.
Yeah.
But the whole business is fucking manipulative.
That's true. It is.
I'm also mad nobody ever did it for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we did Best Week Ever, we made our own posters. We got in trouble for making our own posters to hang up.
Last week, we did get a billboard in Times Square
Oh,
for the
yeah,
launch
yeah.
of the show.
And it
That's
was like,
exciting.
yeah. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, but wait.
but no one cared.
Wait, when Paul hosted Best Week Ever solo, remember they put the billboard in Times Square and they used they didn't even do a publicity shot of you. Didn't they use a headshot of yours?
They used a headshot, yeah.
They didn't even tell you. They just went on Google and copied image and then and it was how are you supposed to sell the show that way? It tells you nothing about him as a host or you know what I mean?
Look, we could spend a whole episode on what VH1 did wrong with Best Week Ever.
Behind
Here's
the
what
best
I
week
think.
ever.
In my personal opinion, if you have a show and you're looking for success, in my opinion, the hallmark of it is getting the dedicated emoji at the end of the hashtag of the name of the show on Twitter.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
When it auto adds
When it auto
an
adds
emoji,
the
a custom
emoji?
emoji.
The White
boy,
Lotus
that
had the
is-
White Lotus flower.
That's right. That's
And
living.
that
You
was a
made
hit.
it.
That was
made
a
it.
hit show.
Yeah.
It became that because of that emoji.
Because
is
of
what
it.
I think I hear you saying.
If you're going to spend your advertising dollars, that's where you need to be spending it.
I
Absolutely.
love it.
Because
I
it
love it.
classes it up,
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Janie's it classes it up.
It does. I think 5EVA
I
has
agree.
it. 5EVA has it, I think.
Yeah, we do have it. I think it's a
Yeah.
little magical mic.
It is.
Like a microphone. Like a little
it was
magic
like a sparkly mic or something
Yeah,
because
I
I
think so.
tweeted about this show and it popped.
Classy.
And when it pops up when you're tweeting about it,
You feel like you
it's-
won something.
it's a moment. It's
I feel like you're part of something.
yeah. I'm just saying.
I like that, but you know what I don't like? I don't like when stars of shows name their followers or use the name that their followers have given themselves or whatever it is. If I was hey girl fam or whatever, I would be and with the hashtag, it makes me so uncomfortable when
oh yeah.
people they're like
is girl
they're like,
fam the what
no,
is the
I don't.
5
I just
Evas?
made that up. I don't.
What would
think
be the
there is
5
one.
five?
Fivels?
I mean, the
Fivels.
five.
Fivel's the mouse. Yeah, of course, obviously.
Hey, Fivels.
Oh my
Now, obviously, the fans of this podcast are besties.
Yeah, they like to call themselves that.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Did I guess it?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh
yes.
well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. It's a good
That
one.
actually
That's
makes
a good one.
sense. Yeah.
We made a T-shirt for them, and I think we have a sweatshirt for them. Yeah, people like to call themselves besties, and I've started using it too. But I think Busy will never
Never
use
gonna
it.
Hey, best-
happen.
hey-
never gonna happen.
hey, besties.
Never gonna happen.
Where are my besties at?
Hey guys. Okay, so Paul, I want to ask these nuts podcast these podcast nuts questions, which
It's
is
like the actor's studio.
Well, it is.
It's like-
I really am like a James Lipton. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Truly, that is
Yeah.
what the comparison has been made time and time
Absolutely.
again.
Yes.
So
Now
we
that's settled.
Yeah, it's settled. Okay, we enjoy talking the entire sort of thing that we like to discuss our pivots in career, in life, in whatever. I feel like I know a few of both of you are pivots, but I'm curious if there is a pivot for you, Paul F. Tompkins, that's at right at the top of the most important / devastating /
Hilarious.
hilarious pivots first, and then Janie, you think about it.
Dealer's
and it can be
choice.
personal too.
Yeah, I've had when I first started, when I first got a manager after I moved out here, I was doing stand up and I very much wanted to be in movies. I wanted to have a Bill Murray type career, and that's what I kind of wanted to do. And I was frustrated that wasn't happening. My manager at the time, her name was Julie James. She was a terrific manager who eventually got out of the business to devote her life to altruism. And I will always feel like I was one of the people that drove her to quit showbiz. But she was the best manager. And at the time she was like, I think you should be the next David Letterman. And I didn't want to hear that because I didn't want to be myself. I wanted to be an actor and I wanted to do all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then later after she quit, I was like, and I didn't connect it at first. And I was like, I want to host things. I want to be a TV host. And when Best Week Ever happened. And then, after that ended, that was my goal, was I set my sights on doing my own show. and I finally got to do a pilot for Comedy Central. The pilot not only didn't go,
Wait,
but
was I the
you
one
guessed
that
it
did
on it. Yes,
Yeah,
you guessed it
I
on
did
it.
the pilot.
Yes, you did. You were on that pilot.
Yeah, it was in 2013.
Yeah. And I not only did the show not go, but the head of the network at the time called me as I was in Chicago and I was about to do this music video. And we were out on location near the lake, and it was a night shoot. We were going to shoot. We started shooting as soon as it got dark, and we were going to go till 5 a.m. or something like that. And I got a call from the head of the network who said, is this a good time to talk? And I said, actually, I'm about to step on set. And then he just started talking to me.
No.
And telling me, this was before the show didn't go. And he told me that the show wasn't good, that I did not, I made mistakes in booking guests. There was one guest that was maybe a mistake, not you, Busy, but somebody else.
It's okay if it was me. I don't actually.
It was not you. It was not you. And that I came across as old-fashioned and kind of stuffy, and that I was not really going to do well with their audience. And I was like,
TMI.
okay, well, thank you. And then it was like a month after that they said, yeah, we just tested it and it didn't do well and the show's not going to go. So I had to live with that for a month, where he was putting it all on me. I was the reason that this thing did not go. And I couldn't understand. This was a guy that I was friendly with, before he got this job. And I was I couldn't understand why he was telling me this. What was I supposed to do with that information except dwell on it for years?
That is
which is
super
what I did.
Interesting. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Why?
I
It's
never,
funny. That's
never
making
understood
me
it.
think of something that you guys were talking about on a previous podcast
Yes, Comcast.
about this sort of wave of people being
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, because I know people that are oh, I'm a radical truth teller or whatever, and it's that's not always the kindest avenue of communicating with someone you appreciate.
It's also you're a
You can
radical opinion giver.
But
Yes.
also,
You know what I mean? Just because you said it doesn't mean it's the fucking truth.
but I wonder if in his point of view, if he thought that
Yes.
truth telling was somehow a kindness, but it wasn't. Does that make sense?
It sure wasn't.
I just have to be
because-
honest, right? I just have to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
It was before the thing was officially dead. I didn't understand why it didn't cushion the blow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I can only assume good intentions from this person, knowing who this person is. But
I've tried. I don't think he was doing it maliciously, but I think it was a very misguided thing to do.
also,
And
some of these people in these positions, they forget what creatives go through.
Yeah. I
agree
And
with that.
so
Or they
they're
never knew.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so they're used to talking about you like you're just this commodity to other people in the corporation. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then when it comes to dealing with the actual talent, they don't understand sort of the bleeding that you've done.
yeah.
I think that's the case with just a lot of people never think of the way what they're saying is. And this is also something we've talked about on the podcast. When you're should I say something about the way this made me feel? Should I say something about my side of this? Or if someone says something to you that rubs you the wrong way or hurts your feelings or whatever, and you're should I say something back? And I think about it for a really long time. And then I'm how long did this motherfucker think about what they were about to say to me? 0 seconds. I know it was 0 seconds.
Yeah.
And the truth is it's hard when somebody's talking about the persona that you have on camera, that's really you. That's your persona. So it's doubly painful as opposed to oh, this part that you were acting wasn't right. It's, we're not going in that direction. But when somebody's saying essentially you are not appealing, then what are you supposed to do about that?
Yeah.
Paul, I need your help with this. Do you remember literally I was definitely in this house and we were doing a thrilling adventure hour and I swear I'm just having the most intense deja vu that I but that I during that in the before show of Thrilling Adventure Hour, I was like, oh my God, I had this like weird dream with Paul. Like you guys were on my podcast. Anyway, guys, that just happened while everything was happening and the rain outside. And I really like couldn't even follow. I mean, I can of course follow, but I really am in a deja vu wormhole right now.
I hear you.
Weird. Are you okay?
No.
Are you still in it?
Is anyone okay?
No. I don't know. I listen, but but like how was the tactlessness of that particular executive in that moment? Like how did it, I mean, obviously it affected you, but were you just like, well, I'm not going to host things anymore? Or did you take it to heart, or did you use it as fire, or like, how did it?
It devastated me. I took it to heart and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if this is, it cast a shadow over everything that I tried to do after that, you know, and it sucked because it put me in this place of, well, I'm never going to get to do anything like that. So what do I do? And it was the beginning of a very long and slow descent into a depression that honestly reached its peak during quarantine. And then, you know, because there's so much time to just think and dwell on things. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know what my career is. And, you know, I was getting, because of BoJack, I was getting a BoJack Horseman. I did a voice on BoJack Horseman, and I was getting more and more voiceover work. And I was like, is this what it is? Am I doing just this now? Like auditioning, not getting anything, not even getting that many auditions. And occasionally somebody would stick me in a thing. And I was like, is this what it is? Is that occasionally somebody who's a fan of mine from some other thing says, okay, now we're in our 7th season. So if we want, we can stick this guy in there.
Right.
You know, and always a part that was like, well, this part can never come back, you know? And so I couldn't even be like, oh, I can show up on this show every once in a while, you know? And I was really, but it all came back to that phone conversation where I was like, I don't know. I'm just like damaged goods or something, or nobody wants me. I don't have anything. I'm not marketable. I don't have a thing that anyone wants. And honestly, it wasn't until I changed my fucking medication last year that I climbed out of that I got out of that. I was lifted out of it.
Well,
and
but also there was a lot of self-reflection during the pandemic on top of that.
Tons. But also part of that self-reflection is, well, I can't be living in this place. I can't be like, this is where it ends. Like, I can't just be sitting in this forever.
The way that you described that moment, like the phone call, like it was clearly a trauma.
Yeah.
The phone call itself was a trauma.
Yeah.
Because, well, first of all, I'm a big late in life learning what boundaries are. Didn't ever fucking know, but immediately railroaded over your boundary. You're like, actually, I'm about to do something right now. I'm literally about.
That to me is the craziest part.
This isn't a great time.
Yes.
Which then, from that point on, it is disrespect from that point on.
Exactly.
So even if, let's say, Janie, you are one of the sweetest people I know, best intentions, trying to be helpful, maybe even calling you in a way like, how could we fix this? You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking matter, because from the moment when you're like, actually, no, I can't engage in this moment, and he railroaded over you, it's fucking done. It's done.
Can I say one thing too? Almost worse than being disrespectful, I hate the performance of respect that isn't true.
Yeah.
So I hate when someone says, hey, I just wanted to check if this was okay with you, and you're like, actually it's not, and then the person like debates you on whether or not it's okay, and then it's like, oh, you thought I was just gonna say yes and acquiesce to this, and you really weren't you really weren't interested in whether or not it was okay with me. You just wanted to give the performance of respecting me, and that's almost worse than just disrespecting me to begin with.
Like if you ask somebody for space and they're like, 2 days is enough, and then they start like texting you or something, and it's like, that's not how this works. It's like, you don't decide.
This is not your situation at all, Paul, but a lot of misogyny is that.
Yes.
Sure.
I mean,
absolutely.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you'll be sitting at a bar reading a book.
Reading a book is
And
the
you're like,
biggest
oh.
leave me alone signal
And then
that
you're
you can
like,
possibly
and
say.
that's the dumbest like example, but like,
No,
you know, you're
it's a
like, oh,
great
I'm just
example.
reading my book. And then they're like, so what's it about? And it's the same kind of exchange in a way. It's like the person thinks they're more important than your
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul, I want to go back to, because this is, I'm like, wow. I'm so grateful to hear that you are like on the other side of that, because and I'm sorry that I ruined your pilot.
You classed it up.
I'm really teasing. No, because I remember being at the taping for the pilot and Mark and I watching you before I went out or whatever, and just being like, this is it. Like this is what you were like born to do. This is like, it was so clear. It was so fucking funny and so clear to us, like what a huge talent and star you were, and like how that was what you should be doing. That was, and it was so clear to me just in knowing you that that was like your dream and everything. To hear that like one person's thought has been in your brain for so many years, like really, really breaks my heart. And like, and I fucking get it. I get it so deeply. Like I obviously get it, you know? But it wasn't just the medication, to be fair. Like you had to like do work. You know what I mean? Like I want you to give yourself as much credit as you can. But I have often thought, and Mark and I have talked about that pilot. And like I've often thought like, why didn't he try to do another late night talk show somewhere? Why didn't he try to do, and listen, our paths are our paths. And like, I'm like grateful for the work that you do and like all of the stuff. But I hate the thought that one person like so deeply affected your dream.
Well, thank you for saying that. And, you know, what I have to do is look at it as, and what I've come to look at it as, is that there are many dreams. And, you know, what happened after quarantine was I started to realize, like, I want to do what I want to do. And that's why I started, fired up my variety show again and saying, I just want to do a thing that is just for me. If I can make some money from it, great. There's no other purpose for this. I'm doing this just to do it because it will be fun for me to do. As far as work goes, I'll take what comes along. If I get auditions, I'll audition. If I get hired for this or that, I'll do that. If I get voiceover work, I'll do that. I mean, I have a very nice life, and I'm okay with not being some kind of household name or something, or, you know, I'm okay with people not knowing where to find my shit. You know what I mean? If I have to say it's on this weird platform that's new or whatever, like whatever that is, like I think about, there's this show, I won't name it. I'll text you later what show it is, but it's been on. It's been on for years. I've never seen it. I've never heard anybody talk about it. It is on this platform that I've never visited. If I got on a show like that no one ever saw, but somehow it kept staying on, I'd be fine. You know what I mean? Like if I was having a good time, that's really, I've really come to look at priorities as being the things that are necessary as opposed to the things that I desire, and realizing that I still get to have a really good life doing fun things, you know, like it's good, you know, like my priorities have become less egocentric. And part of that really is age, you know, it's like getting older and realizing like there's part of it that's like, you know, well, if the time to kind of, you know, focus on things and be better and about understanding how the business works and all that was when I was younger. And unfortunately, I was not in a great space when I was younger. It was pre-therapy. It was, there was so many things that I didn't realize were wrong that were wrong. And if I had been able to, I either had to be in a sort of emotional place where I am now, or I had to be a sociopath. And
Right.
since I was neither of those things at the time, that's how it worked,
Right.
And so I'm okay with where I am. I'm okay with where I am.
And you and I have had a lot of conversations about this, I think, where it's like, do we want to do this?
Caissie has been there for me so many times. Like when I have been struggling with these issues, and I cannot overestimate how much that has meant to me over the years.
Well, I love you so much. And I do not say this lightly. I've worked for icons. I just have. Like, I feel weird saying that, but it's true. I've worked
It's
for
absolutely true.
And
true.
There's no way around it.
and so, I've sat down and rolled my eyes at the most famous, most talented, beloved people that have performed on the planet, and you are the most talented comedian I've ever had the privilege to work with, to the point where, like, again, when we first met, it was working on this show, and I was like, I don't know if I can write for him. Like, I don't know if I can do it because I'm nervous, like not realizing, because I didn't know you, and I didn't realize like how collaborative you would be, and how great it was to have you say, oh yeah, and like, let's take this and add to this, and how much fun it would be to work for you. I was nervous because you are just so wildly talented, and every comedian that everybody looks up to now, they always are like excited to know that I know you. You know what I mean? Like
That's very sweet of you to tell me that.
It's 100% true. Your name comes up every time. And it's just, I feel like you and I have had a lot of conversations like, well, okay, so for whatever reason, like, what are we going to cry about not being Dane Cook? Like, you know what I mean? Like, cause we're not. Then
Right.
you see who did get a late night show, and you can see now that perspective of like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I'm not that.
Yeah.
Okay, but just real quick, sidebar, would you have given John Mulaney 19 minutes to talk about his year and announce his girlfriend's pregnancy? Just for reference, Paul, we did a late night show, me and Caissie, and I talked about abortion rights, and we had to keep it under 3. So it was, I believe it was 2:15.
OMG.
Like, no one's gonna get it right, but you just have to like at least try and
Yeah.
your best. Oh, is that the name of this podcast? No,
Would you
it's
like
not.
to change the podcast title every week?
I would just
Busy
like to
Phillips
say,
is
for
trying
the
to-
record, Paul, if you decide to blow up our marriage, can we do it a little differently than that?
Yeah. Let's plan it out.
Well, you guys, I'm gonna be honest. Like a lot of the stuff from my book about Mark, like whilst Mark had a lot of, like a lot of say in what was included in my book and what wasn't. The way that it was like sort of extrapolated in the press has been really hurtful for him in a lot of ways, and it's been a thing that like
That sucks.
I had to, but I also have to own that because I, said those things, and like I was obviously self-absorbed in my thinking about how the book would be taken, and there just are a ton, and people really wanted to talk about the marriage stuff, and like.
It's so hard to Monday morning quarterback too. Like, how are you supposed to like future trip on the one thing that is going to be get distorted and like
Get picked up by the press.
Fixated on.
scrutinized.
It's like
Scrutinized.
when Al Roker wrote in his book about sharding at the White House. That's all anyone wanted to talk about. And
Now
then-
that one I feel like
Why
you
did
could
you-
have future tripped on. You could have definitely future tripped on the sharding at the White House.
And then Al Roker would be like, "Enough! Can we stop talking about how I sharded at the White House?" And then everyone was like, "Al Roker, you put it in your book."
And he should have named it I sharded at the White House.
Well, the thing is, Mark never really had. Mark read all of the versions of the book and whatever, and he never had an issue with what I wrote. The problem becomes that you Google his name and it's like Busy Phillips. I wanted to leave my deadbeat husband or
Right.
whatever it was, like not or whatever they like
It's
make
upsetting.
these like terrible.
Right.
They make these headlines that
It's
are like
upsetting, yeah.
not exactly accurate, taken out of context, which is something Joan Rivers talked about.
It's true. She did.
Yes.
Anyway, what we should get to is
Janie's
we heard
pivot.
we heard Paul's pivot that he had like this. I mean, what do you just sum it up, Paul? Like you had this pivot and you're in a better place.
What's the log line of your pivot?
What's the elevator
If we're
pitch
selling
for
this,
your-
the elevator pitch. Thank you.
Jesus. Life goes on, I guess. You know, it's like it's very easy to get hung up on one thing several times. You know, it could be several things you get hung up on in a row. But that life goes on, and there's more than one way to skin a cat, I guess. I don't fucking know.
That's one of my favorite sayings that my mom used to say, and it's so disgusting.
Why
It's
would
horrible.
you skin a cat at all?
Why, yeah, who's doing this?
Who's skinning these cats?
I say that all the time.
That said,
Southern? Is it Southern?
I would love a cat skin blazer.
Now you know someone's really going to create that for you. That's the danger. That is
Yeah,
the
don't do
amount
it.
of power and fame that you have. Someone's going to sew you up a cat skin
Ew.
blazer.
Please don't. Guys, if you're
Don't
listening,
do
please
it.
Don't
Don't
do
do
it.
it.
Calico, please.
And then you have to go on Seth Meyers and he'll let you talk for 19 minutes about how you
There were cat carcasses left on our porch.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I feel like you've even with that thing like derailing you in some ways, like all the stuff that you've like found joy with, and then during the pandemic, even starting Stay Homekins, the podcast,
Yeah.
which is really a delight and like a really unexpected twist.
It's so fun.
I didn't, you guys were just like,
Hey,
I don't know. I just feel
Yeah.
like everything does end up being exactly what it needs and should
Absolutely.
be for a person, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And also fuck that guy.
Hey, do better, right? Remember?
Do better.
Do better.
Do better.
So Janie Haddad-Tompkins,
Yes, ma'am.
tell us all.
I'm in the middle of a pivot.
Your pivot.
This is exciting. How much of it has happened since you got on the microphone?
Well, so far 5 minutes in, going great. No, I just want to say really quick. Number one, I didn't know, Paul, about your Bill Murray type career aspirations. That was a new piece of information for me. And number two,
And do you think it's hot?
Yeah, I think it's hot.
I
do
just
think
wanted to
it's
get to the point where I could show up at people's weddings and they'd be thrilled.
I feel like you are at that point. I'm not even kidding.
I think so too. Okay, Janie, sorry I interrupted
And then the
you.
second part, when Busy was saying how sorry she was and was feeling very connected to that information, it was moving to me as well, because I'm thinking about all of us. We're creative people, and sometimes people don't understand that a lot of times what goes along with being creative is a certain sensitivity.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to move through the spaces that we move in as highly sensitive. And that just like struck me in a way. I hate that sometimes, because people don't respond to people being sensitive.
Yeah, they don't know how to handle it.
No,
or
I think it's like a superpower. It should be celebrated. It should not be so like stepped on and treated so casually. Personally, that's just my personal thing that I took from that conversation. Okay, my pivot. I basically am like, just like with the acting stuff now, I'm in my 40s and it's like harder. And I was listening to the Julia Duffy episode, and oh my God, that so inspired me.
I know.
A lot. and also Jana
Schmieding, yeah.
she inspires me so much too, because talking about how like, you know, you're a performer and you're kind of like at the mercy of things being done, like made for you and being part of other people's storytelling. And I have like for so long now, and I'm like, you know, I'm a Southern person, and Southerners have like, we have stories to tell. Like we're natural storytellers. And so I'm trying to get into writing. I wrote a pilot during the pandemic, and I want to take it out this fall. And it's inspired by my own insane blended crazy family dynamic stuff and growing up in Charleston and all of that. And that's where I am. That's my pivot.
I want to read it, first of all.
Okay, I will send it to you. But this is not my first pilot that I've written. I've worked on other things. Like Paul and I have a project that is going out soon, and I wrote something before that was going to be like
I'm obsessed with that one.
Yeah. And so that one hopefully will go somewhere. But this is more personal. The one I wrote is more personal and more like me trying to find my voice as a creator, you know, which hopefully I can keep honing and stuff. But that's been an interesting pivot because I never trusted myself. I never studied writing. I studied acting. And I never trusted myself to be like, oh, I can sit down and write a script. But, you know, there's skills that you can pick up and also apply the other type of skills you have toward it. So
yeah, I would think that you're in like a unique position to bring something to the table as a writer that, you know, not a lot of writers have.
I mean, I hope so. That's the way I'm sort of framing it for myself, is like, I know the kinds of scenes actors want to play. I know the kinds of scenes women in their 40s and up want to play. And that's sort of what I applied to what I'm doing going forward. And Julie Duffy's saying, like, she hates getting scripts. She says that she can get a script and read the part that she's reading for and know if a man wrote it, like right off the bat, because it'll be so like broadly like stereotyped and cliched.
Yeah, and anyone could play it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, F that. I don't want to be enabling that. You know, I want to be part of the system where I'm contributing something meaningful toward changing that.
It's always so strange to me that the way that people are dismissive, and of course, like obviously it's occurring to me now that I'm in my 40s too, the way that people are so dismissive of like older everything, right? Older characters, older performers, older writers. These are the people with the most story of anyone. You know what I mean? Like just by how long they've been on the planet, they've lived. Collected the most story, the most feelings, the most... You know, when I had this epiphany, Janie, I'll tell you, Busy loves it when I do this, bringing it up. When Prince passed away, people would always like to, on these message boards, ask questions about like, what's your favorite hair era of Prince, whatever. And people would always say like, if you could have dinner with Prince, what era would you choose? And I was like, I would take him like the day before he died, because he was all the princes that you're talking about.
It's the most Prince.
Exactly.
It's the most Prince.
Yes.
And let's face it, I have this perimenopausal rage as my engine right now, and it is fueling me. Like I have it is like chugging away, and it is pushing me into this other space that I didn't feel a healthy entitlement to claim before. And now I'm like, you know, ready to rumble. But
I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it. And also, like, I'm glad that you're using your perimenopausal rage for a creative pursuit and not like, you know, turning into a Karen. Yeah. Or like,
Karen.
or like getting into fights with people at like supermarkets and shit or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think that the creative avenue is just, I think it's a better version.
No, I mean, I'll Karen on some network exec and be like, can I speak to your manager? Because this script, someone needs to buy this script. That's my Karen.
I never thought about that.
So it sounds like you and Paul are kind of in a similar in a similar place. Paul said that he's in a place where he no longer cares what people think about him for the first time. You're being fueled by perimenopausal rage. Also
Rage
not giving
engine. The
rage engine.
PME, perimenopausal rage engine.
So how
That's
is your
my-
PME working together with his DGAF in your house?
And I
Can I-
still
I'm
don't
sorry.
have DGAF.
Can I just say the idea of doing a pitch to someone and then saying, I'd actually like to speak to your boss.
Maybe we should try it.
I
You
think
seem
that would be
underqualified.
fun.
Chad, who's your superior?
Yeah.
I'd like
Chad
to speak
is
to the
such an
manager of
idiot.
Netflix.
Can I talk to somebody else?
I just
Who's the boss around here? Michael Eisner? Let's get him on the phone. Like to
but
speak
my
to him.
personal pivot in busy, this is something you just casually mentioned earlier that I want to talk about is finding boundaries later in life, because I did not grow up I never even understood what the definition of boundaries were until just recently. Like people who are like, oh, you need to say no to that and have boundaries. I just thought boundaries were saying no. And that's
Right.
so not even close to what boundaries are. Because boundaries.
Janie, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Like, like boundaries are also like with your own being, like where you start and begin, like where you're not being like sucked into somebody's force field kind of a thing. Because I've always been kind of spongy in that way, which is helpful with acting,
Yeah.
you know, but not helpful with life.
Yeah, because you're absorbing. I feel like I absorb people's anger a lot. And like, so my boundary recently, and especially in the pandemic, is being like, I understand that you're not feeling great. But like, it's like you're dripping that feeling like all over, and I'm stepping in it and getting it on me. And like,
Yeah.
you know, everybody's allowed to feel not great. But I feel like that's a boundary that I've developed where I'm like, stop giving me like your trash to hold. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a garbage can where you just dump your poor feelings and then go off into the world like feeling better, unburdened of all that shit. And here I am holding it. Like and so I feel like that's what you're describing a little
And
bit.
so much of it was how I was raised. Like in the South, I was the only girl in my family too. And just this whole like societal kind of expectation on me to make everything better for everyone else constantly. And while that's an admirable skill to have, and I know I can access it at any moment, it doesn't have to be my 24/7 ethos to the point where I'm like, you know, who am I?
That
Like-
I almost feel like I want to cry hearing you say that because I'm just picturing you taking on the shit of other people that, you know, in an effort to make things better, when I know, because I know you, that the way that you actually make things better is by being your outward self, who you are. Like you're the sunshine, you know, you're the person that I want to hear from. I don't want to see you getting other people's shit stuffed into you.
I've
You know
been
what I
in
mean?
a situation where I've had like close friends when I'm like, I'm having a hard time right now. And like a close friend, I'll be like, you can't be having a hard time. Like you're not like you're not allowed or something.
I'm the hard time person.
I'm the hard time person.
You are the person who listens to the hard time.
And so I've had to like kind of reassess those types of friendships in my life just because like I can't, no human can live that way, you know?
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, I do have an optimism and a sunniness, but I also work at it, especially in the times we're living in. Like
Yeah.
there are times I want to be like, what? It's going to burn down to the ground. It's all going to burn down to the ground, you know? So, but like, you know, you have to kind of like, that's a boundary too, right?
Yeah.
Of being like, okay, what can I control in this smaller space that I'm occupying, you know? So,
Yeah.
so those are my pivots. And some of it was the pandemic too. Like, even though this is like stuff I've been working on in therapy pre-pandemic. The pandemic kind of like hammered it home. I don't know. I just like had like time to really be like, what the fuck? I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. I want to, and I have things to say, you know? I have things to say and I want to funnel it and put it out there and not just defer to other people's stuff, you know?
Yeah. That's what I want from you, too.
That's what I want from you, too. And from you, Paul. And from you, Caissie. And from me, Busy Phillips.
I want for all of us because we're all creative, sensitive people, and
It is true.
Okay, Marvin Gaye.
yeah, but I don't know. I didn't have a specific trauma that brought it on like Paul did. I just I have a lot of childhood.
Jealous?
Oh, you will. You will.
No, I have a lot of childhood trauma that I've and I don't call it that. I call it adversity, childhood adversity.
Yeah.
Janie, do you know what I'm doing next week?
Yeah,
And Paul.
I do.
Paul, you could, yeah, of course, because you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
It's like from that era of like new agey spirituality,
Yes.
self-help therapy, fucking heal the child situation.
I'm curious to hear about your experience with it. By the way, I'm obsessed with Esalen and have been dying to go for years. It's I know I can't get Paul to go because it's like a kind of like a naked place and that's not his deal.
Not his vibe.
You know what? I appreciate that because the first time I ever saw Paul in shorts, I almost fainted. There's like a list of things I can't handle, and that is one of them.
Well, no, I feel like any of that stuff is like, can be, any of this stuff can be, like, even if it's just like if it is a spa week or whatever,
Sure.
like any of that stuff, like, I don't know. I think what's the worst that can happen is that I end up in a cult, but
That'd be good for me.
I think it's fine. I know enough people that have gone, but I don't know. I think you should, but
Look
maybe
into
Paul
it.
needs to push himself into naked territory. I don't know.
Well,
No.
okay, speaking
All right.
full
No.
circle of the podcast in a way, because Esalen, like, did you guys see the movie? It's kind of one of my favorite movies, Bob and Carol and Ted and Ted.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's very funny. It's from the 60s. And like they basically, the movie like starts, they go to like this Esalen kind of place, these couples. And so they kind of get into like this free love stuff. And the one couple, she's like sleeping with her tennis coach.
Full circle.
So full circle.
Paul and I are going to start a retreat that is fully clothed.
You have to wear
in
extra clothes.
I think I think I'll be wearing a lot of clothes at mine, guys. Just so you know.
some type of fancy hat.
You're wearing
Yeah.
clothes at yours?
You're wearing
I
clothes.
think I'm wearing a lot of clothes. It's gonna be a little chilly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, at Esalen, like you don't have. I've talked to people who go to Esalen, because like I said, I'm totally obsessed with it, and you don't have to be naked in the hot springs with the other
Right.
people. Like
That's
you
right.
can wear a bathing suit, but you will see other nakeds.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
Now we're talking.
And everyone will know that
Yeah.
you're a never nude nerd.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah,
perv.
you're the nude
And a
nerd,
perv.
Yeah.
the pervy nude nerd. Would you do
Pervy nude
that?
nerd.
But Busy, would you do naked? Would you do naked hot springs, like a public?
I'm like a weirdly naked person.
Oh, you're okay naked.
yeah.
I'm
I
not,
hate
but I will.
myself and my body and what I look like, but I'll weirdly just be naked in front of anyone. Like it makes no sense. I have like
You're not
the
like,
most insecurities and then like none.
but like in other words, you're not like an exhibitionist.
no, I just don't care.
You have no hangups about it.
I don't care
Yeah.
about people seeing my body because I just feel like
It's just a body.
I don't care
Yeah.
about that. But then when I think about my body or when I look at my body, I get very self-critical and I hate it. But I think that's just like my programming from,
right.
being a person. in
Sure.
this world.
Yeah. Interesting.
time.
Caissie, what
I'm
about you?
worried about sunburns. I'm just worried. No,
Good point.
You
do
could go after dark.
You know, our friend Nelson Walters, Nelson was a co-executive producer of Busy Tonight. He also worked on Best Week Ever with Paul and I. When we were sent to Miami on an assignment one time for Best Week Ever, and there was like a pool at the hotel, and he wanted to work in the pool, and I was like, Nelson Walters, I would sooner die than get into a pool with a colleague. And so he was in the pool, and I was just poolside, fully clothed.
Right.
And then also on our little patios because it was like a former motel that had been turned into a fancy hotel. They had bathtubs on the patios with like curtains surrounding them. And it was really hot. And Nelson was like, it was super hot day in Miami. And Nelson was like, let's go back to the hotel. You know what you should do? You should like get some Epsom salts, take a nice bath, cool off. And, and then we'll like get together for dinner. And I was like, that is sweet advice. I love you, Nelson. He's the sweetest man in the world. But then he was like 2 doors down and he kept yelling, I'm coming over, when he knew I was in the bath. And I was like, no. And I kept trying to like get up out of the bath. And then he'd be like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I'm
He did not relax you at all. His
going to
advice
break
was
my
not
neck trying to get out of this stupid bath you made me take because you keep threatening to like peek my naked shoulders. Stop it. Anyway, I'm sure HR would have had a ball with that one if we had HR.
Bingo.
Well,
Anyway.
you guys, it's time for me to take a bath.
Yeah.
It's
Your
really not.
midday bath.
No,
before
But you want to just do it on the Zoom? I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Sometimes I do think it would be nice if I could figure out how to podcast, but
From
it's
the
I
too
was
much
going to
wi-
say,
too
is
many
that,
wires.
this is the first
many
viable podcast theme alternative, I think. Like podcast, we're all taking baths, try not to electrocute ourselves.
I'm so scared about that. So I don't like that
Right.
plan. But wait, I had something else to say before we went away. I think it was about how much I love you guys and I really miss you.
I miss
We
you.
miss you too.
Yeah.
I love you too.
I was excited to do the podcast just so it was like we were just like FaceTiming.
Yeah.
Why not?
Like, it
that's
wasn't like-
honestly,
It's been a nice catch up.
It's
for
more of
sure.
a visit.
Yeah.
it really was.
But also, you told us a lot of interesting things. You gave everyone a lot of food for thought.
Hopefully.
I hope
mean, the
so.
pivots were so, I don't know, they weren't dramatic like some people's pivots.
Well,
they're pretty
no one's
dramatic.
ever going to top Natalie Morales falling down the stairs at the opera and shattering her skull.
Never
That
knew
was-
that was a thing.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Paul?
Yeah. Early on, when I first met her, it came up. I think somebody else that she knew, maybe the person who introduced us, brought it up at
Wow.
some point, and she like showed how she has no cartilage in her nose.
Oh my God.
And like just pressed her nose flat. It was wild.
Whoa.
But hey,
Okay.
now she has a trick face.
Yeah. So
Never trust a trick face and a smile.
you guys, I love you both so much. Thank you for being on our podcast. And thank you though for always being friends to each of us individually, also together.
Yeah.
Together.
Also, everyone is friends.
I know.
We
I love
you both so much.
I love you,
and
Busy. I love you,
Thank you for
Caissie.
being our friends.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, this was
You both
delightful.
look, I just want to say, I know we're not supposed to talk about the way people look. You both look fucking great.
Very good.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I accept it.
Yeah. That's right.
I'm using the filter on Zoom, but that's okay. I touched up my appearance, but whatever. All right, love you. Thank you.
Love you.
All
too.
right, we'll
Thank you.
talk soon.
Okay.
Bye. Yay. And we're back.
We're back.
We're back. Paul Tompkins also had a birthday this week. Happy birthday, PFT. We love you.
PFT.
Which is wonderful. Oh, also, you know what I want to say to everybody? Thanks for being so nice about the Joan Rivers episode last week. That was one of the things that I was doing my best at. I was trying to write like little memories of Joan Rivers and just put it on Instagram because like, who's going to stop me? Who's going to tell me I can't? Nobody.
No one.
Nobody.
No one's going to.
And so, so thanks for everybody listening and all your super nice comments about that, because that was truly a time when I'd never spoken into a microphone before. And I probably was nervous to death, although I can't remember. But it was nice. It was so nice to hear her voice again.
You were very sweet.
And thanks again to Melissa Rivers for giving her blessing to let us air that interview. Wonderful Melissa Rivers.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll see you in like a couple of weeks. What are we doing next week? Do we have an episode or what?
Yeah, we're gonna make an episode.
We are. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna.
But it won't be while I'm away at my camp.
Yeah, so it'll be like
My crying camp.
You'll be at crying camp. We will make an episode. It won't be topical necessarily because we'll have to do it ahead of time. But so if something happens with Benifer, it won't be like up to the minute, hot, fresh take on that. But a lot of times we just talk about whatever anyway. So
did you watch the VMAs?
I did not watch the VMAs because like I followed along on Twitter and I was like, a lot of these people, it's not for me. A lot of these people, I don't know who they are, and I'm a lady my age, and I saw a couple of people that I thought were like Machine Gun Kelly and somebody else, and they just weren't that at all. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have to like log off.
I don't know who anyone is, and I didn't. I didn't watch it.
My best VMAs was in 1991. It's untoppable for me. So why am I even trying?
With the butt?
Yeah.
Is that with his butt?
Yeah. Who's ever going to do better at the VMAs than that?
I don't think anyone.
And do you want to hear something that I think is funny about the 1991 VMAs with Prince's butt? Mm-hmm. Is that there is a loop of a song of a woman's voice making sexy noises. It's from a song called Peach. Normally, that's what it's in, but he used it during his VMAs performance. And that's the voice of one Kim Basinger, who had already by that time started to date Alec Baldwin, I believe. So I wonder, because I like to wonder these things, did Prince think maybe Kim and Alec would be in the audience and like it would be funny to play a loop of her making like sexy noises during his performance, during a very sexy song with his butt out? Maybe. I don't know if Kim and Alec were there.
Were they sexy noises that she made for him, or?
It was rumored that they had maybe actually had sex and recorded it. But then, it's just rumors. I don't know. I don't know if they like mic'd the room and then had sex. There's all kinds of rumors about Kim and Prince, including my friend Anil Dash has a really interesting theory about her outfit that she wore to the Oscars. He theorizes that Prince's costumers made it for her because it really looks like a very Prince-esque outfit, including with like a word down the sleeve, and it's very princely. She said she designed it herself, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, because she was living at Paisley Park for some time and perhaps his costumers sewed that up. So there's your little Prince cookie for the week, Prince nugget.
This is basically just a Prince podcast.
Didn't watch this week's VMA. Is going to talk about the one 30 years ago.
Listen, I mean, what are we doing with our lives? VMAs, the Met Gala.
It's like, I mean, the look at the hosts for the Met Gala. I've never felt older in my life. I'm sure they'll do an amazing job, but those people's ages individually don't add up to my age. It's Timothée Chalamet, Billie Eilish, Naomi Osaka, and Amanda Gorman. The 4 youngest, most talented people in the United States who I could be their mom.
I mean, I've definitely given birth to at least one of them.
I mean, 100%. And I'm like, can they even stay out that late? Is that okay with their parents? But they can. They're full adults.
I don't understand anything anymore.
They're full adults who can host the Met Gala.
Well, I can also continue to not be invited to the Met Gala.
The only person I've ever cared about really at the Met Gala is Lizzo.
I remember.
Yeah, it can't get cooler than Lizzo. And everybody's dresses are fine and fun. It's just like not a world that I exist in. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm like exactly the exact same station I was in high school, you know? Truly. Like I'm like I do think people like me, and I think that like some people think I'm like kind of fucking cool, and then some people are just like, yeah, I don't get it. She's not invited.
The people at the Met Gala are just regular people. They put on their couture gowns, one shapewear leg at a time. Just like
no, that's not true. That's not true. That is not true. There's a team. There is a team assembled,
a pit
helping
crew.
them.
Yes,
there's a pit crew that is buttoning every little tiny button.
Yes,
and lacing every little tiny lace, and they just stand there frozen.
Listen,
hungry.
It's true, but everyone at the Met Gala, they all get diarrhea. Everyone at the Met Gala, they've all cried about being sad before.
But do they get as much diarrhea as I get?
Nobody gets as much diarrhea as you get.
That's true.
Yeah.
Correct answer. Anyway, guys, and on that note, we love you. We're going to do our book club in October. If you haven't read the book yet, get the book.
You still have a little time. And we're going to send out information about how we're going to do it, how we can all gather in one place online to do the book club. And also, we're working on that newsletter. We are figuring it out.
Oh, shit. We didn't even fucking talk about the newsletter situation. Are you kidding me? Caissie, how is this not a thing? We need to plan better, this fucking podcast. We need to talk about this shit. Okay, guys, first of all, can I just tell you this? That when I floated the fucking newsletter idea, in no way, shape, or form did I know that Facebook was launching their own newsletter fucking platform 3 days later. No one asked me to be a part of it. No one offered me their Facebook fucking blood money to like get your information. I am not doing a fucking Facebook newsletter. I literally had the idea on the plane because it was a thing based sort of in what Caissie and I had been trying to do in 2019.
Yes.
And then Caissie had said to me, hey, maybe I could just do my own newsletter. I have some friends that are doing it on Patreon. And I was like, my ego was like, don't do that because we need to do this big thing. And like, it needs to be like a big thing to show those fucking people at E that they fucked up or whatever. Then the world ended, and then we've all been humbled.
Yes.
And then I was on an airplane and I was like, you know what, we should, you know what I like doing? I like this. I got the email from Summer,
yes,
like just from people saying how much they love the merch, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? This is what I like. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what the return is. I want to like just put things that are nice into the world for people who want to read it, who people are interested in. People are always asking me for my whatever, blah, blah, blah. Fucking email Caissie. I'm like, all right, girl, newsletter. It's on. And also like, it can just be like low pro. I don't want to charge people for it. I don't want to go behind a paywall. Like
right.
My whole thing, like all the shit still stands. I don't want to be like affiliated with like a fucking horrible company that's just like using it for data mining so that they can sell your shit to other places and people, even though we can all justify anything because we want to make money. The point is, I can't fucking believe that. And you guys, if you like literally thought like, fuck her, like we had no fucking idea. Neither one of us had been approached by Facebook. And in fact, I'm just going to fucking say it right now. The horrible meeting that we had where they tried to charge us $30 to get out of the fucking parking lot was Facebook. Okay, that's it, guys. So I'm going to say it because I give two fucks and I'm going to cry in the woods for a week. I did not know when we floated the idea of the newsletter to you guys, we didn't know that literally 3 days later, everyone you follow on Instagram would be announcing their newsletter. So I just want to say that for the fucking record.
So just in case you had a moment, and I think we're still going to do it. And
Yeah, we are. We're just not going to use the fucking Facebook site fucking server to data mine your shit. We're going to data mine it in other ways.
true to form, we're just going to make up our own thing and do it our own way.
Make up our own fucking thing. Because I fucking hate everything. Everything is already tainted.
And
This
like
is altruistic. Like, guys, I just want to like give you some like, we just want to like share with you
some
AKA
tips.
data mine. That was not the fucking intention.
No.
And also, I'm not paying $30 for your fucking parking lot, Facebook. I'm like roller girl. I'm like smashing them in the face with my fucking roller skate. Don't you ever disrespect me. Guys, that's a Boogie Nights reference.
Yes.
That's just like that's a very chill Boogie Nights reference. Don't worry about it.
Boogie Nights is very popular in my house. It's the whole reason we moved to California. To be fair, maybe Facebook didn't approach you because you're not on Facebook, and maybe they were like, we know she's not interested.
Maybe Facebook didn't approach me because we had a fucking ridiculous meeting with them where they were fucking rude to us and then tried to charge us to get out of their fucking parking lot.
That could be.
Yeah, that could fucking be.
That could be.
And they're fucking bullshit fucking assholes who like literally got Trump elected and just spread misinformation until they're like, whoopsies, did that ruin the world? Oh, well, it was a fun experiment. At least we know stuff now about people's habits.
Which brings me to the point that if you would like to join the Busy Phillips is doing her best Facebook group, send us some. Busy just spit.
I just had an actual spit take. I just spit water onto the computer. Hold on, I gotta wipe it off so it doesn't ruin the computer. Oh my god, that was an actual spit take.
Oh my god! But just know that we're not mining your data. We don't know
Well, I mean,
how.
Facebook for sure is.
Yeah, they
100%.
are. They are, but we're not.
But you've consented to that by just being on Facebook.
Yeah.
And Caissie, I have nothing to do with that. Caissie did it. And yes, guys, I know that Instagram is owned by Facebook. And by the way, I know that there's a tracker in my fucking pocket at all times. I get it. We're all a part of the machine. We're all a part of the system. We're cogs. I get it.
Trust us. If we were going to track you, we'd do it through tampons.
I mean, I don't know why we are not.
We'd put microchips in tampons and follow your goings on. All right, listen. There's not much more to say. There's not a lot more we.
Sorry, I really went off. I mean, and then the spit take.
You guys, we love you. We'll keep.
Oh my God, we love you so much, and I swear to God, when that happened, I might post the texts between me and Caissie because I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Did you know this was gonna happen?" She's like, "No." I was like, "Wait, how come this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person are all announcing that they're launching a fucking newsletter today?" And Caissie's like, "Because Facebook just announced."
I'm sure those newsletters are great, but we're going to do it our own way. We're going to just make it
Listen,
up.
no, it's no shade to anyone who decided to take the fucking blood money of Facebook. You know what I mean? It's no shade to that. Listen, you get yours and then just do good things with the money that you get. That's all I'm asking. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm just like, I just couldn't fucking believe it after everything. After the like last fucking couple of years that we've had. It is something else. I do have to say.
A perfect.
It was something else. I did feel like it was something else. And like on top of that week that I was having, and like which was the culmination of many weeks now at this point.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? Maybe that's what turned the corner for me.
Oh my God, maybe. But Lord knows I've been there before when I'm like, hey, we should have like a Halloween party. And then everyone in the group looks at me and they're like, well, we are. We've been planning it. And then I'm like, oh, I get it. Okay, got it. You're having a Halloween party.
Why don't we know about these things? Why aren't we invited to the fucking party?
I don't know.
You know what? We're making our own party with you.
All of you.
Just you. You heard me.
Is that a good
You one
sales-
person.
a good sales tactic? We're making a less cool party with all of you.
I think, you know what? You know what? That's the party I want to go to.
Of course, obviously. Meet us at the less cool party, everyone, next week.
Well, the less cool party is cool because, first of all, I definitely let you drink. Secondly, Caissie has mushrooms we can microdose on. Thirdly, you know I've got good weed.
Yeah.
Fourth, this has just been all about drugs so far. But wait, you guys, I love you. I'm going to go get my chicken now.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, no.